Imagine, if you will, a world where the relentless roar of the modern age, the hum of electricity, the frantic ticking of clocks, the weight of constant information has simply ceased to exist. Instead, you are transported to the year 1885 into the heart of a merchant's private sanctuary in Bahrain. Outside the Persian Gulf sun is a searing white-hot authority, turning the desert sands into a shimmering furnace, but here within the thick ancient coral stone walls of this hidden storehouse, the world is transformed. The heat is a memory replaced by a cool subterranean stillness that wraps around you like a heavy velvet cloak. You are safe. You are detached from the demands of time. You are invited into a space where the only currency is patience and the only labor is the pursuit of perfection. The room is dim, illuminated only by the thin golden blades of light that manage to slice through the intricately carved wooden shutters. Every breath you take here is rich with history. There is the dry, comforting aroma of cedarwood from the iron-bound chests that line the walls, a scent that whispers of long-distance voyages and rare goods. Intermingled with this is the faint, lingering warmth of cardamom coffee, spiced and sweet, and the subtle sailing ghost of the sea, which seems to seep through the very foundation of the building. In this protected vault, you are not a traveler, you are a witness to a ritual that has remained unchanged for centuries. You find yourself seated on a plush embroidered floor cushion, the fabric soft against your skin grounding you in this moment. Before you, a merchant, a man of measured movements and profound focus, prepares his tools. There is no rush in his eyes. There is no tremor in his hands. He is a master of the ocean's quietest treasures. He reaches into a wooden crate, his fingers disappearing into a mass of cool, smooth spheres, and pulls out a handful of natural pearls. As he releases them onto a piece of deep, dark velvet, the sound is unmistakable, a delicate musical clatter, like the soft cascading of rain on stone. It is a rhythmic, hypnotic language of luxury and nature. These are not merely gemstones, they are the result of years of oceanic patience, polished by the tides and harvested by hand. As they roll across the velvet, they catch the slivers of light, glowing with an inner iridescent luster that defies the shadows of the room. You watch as the merchant begins the process of sorting. It is a methodical, meditative labor. He uses a series of finely pierced brass grading sieves, the metal cool and heavy to the touch. With a steady, gentle motion, he sifts the pearls and the air fills with a soft, repetitive sound, a hushed, metallic shh that rises and falls in perfect synchronization with his breathing. It is a lullaby of industry. The sheer reliability of the sound, the predictability of the motion, and the profound peace of the environment pull you deeper into a state of absolute tranquility. You are invited to let go of your thoughts, to shed the responsibilities that follow you through your day, and to sink into this secure, shielded reality. There is nothing to solve here. There is no deadline to meet. There is only the shimmer of the pearls, the cool texture of the velvet, and the steady grounding rhythm of the sieve. As the merchant continues his work, you realize that this room is more than a storehouse. It is a fortress of calm. In this isolated, tranquil space, time slows down to the pace of a falling pearl. You are entirely cocooned by the past, cradled by the stillness of the stone walls, and lulled by the gentle, repetitive symphony of a world that understood the true value of waiting. Breathe in the scent of cedar and spice, and let your mind drift into the soothing, rhythmic flow of the merchant's craft, where each pearl tells a story of the deep dark sea, and each movement of the hand brings you closer to a state of complete and effortless rest. You are perfectly secure, and you are exactly where you need to be. The merchant's hands move with a grace born of decades of intimacy with his craft. Each finger is calloused, not from harsh labor, but from the constant gentle friction of pearls, silk, and polished brass. He treats every object on his velvet stage with a reverence that borders on the sacred. To him, these pearls are not just assets of trade. They are living artifacts of the tides, bearing the mark of the abyss and the light of the moon. As he sifts, the small piles on the velvet begin to grow, each one categorized by size, weight, and the subtle nuances of their orient, that shimmering depth of light that separates a common bead from a masterpiece. You watch, captivated, as he pulls a magnifying glass from his sash. It is a simple tool framed in dark aged wood, yet it reveals a world that remains hidden to the untrained eye. Through the lens, the surface of a pearl becomes a landscape of swirling organic patterns, a testament to the life of the oyster that nurtured it. The merchant pauses, his eyes narrowing slightly, peering into the tiny, luminous globe. He is searching for the slightest imperfection, the smallest fleck of shadow that might diminish its value. But in this quiet, candlelit atmosphere, even the flaws seem to hold a certain beauty, a reminder of the raw, unpredictable nature from which these gems were born. He rotates the pearl between his thumb and forefinger, a slow, deliberate motion that mimics the rotation of the earth itself. The room remains a sanctuary of silence, punctuated only by the occasional rhythmic sh of the brass sieves. It is a sound that has become the background pulse of your own thoughts. As you sit here, you begin to realize that the merchant is not just sorting pearls, he is organizing the chaos of the outside world into neat, harmonious piles. He is imposing order upon nature, and in doing so, he is finding his own peace. You feel this peace radiating from him, feeling the gaps between the wooden beams settling into the cracks of the coral stone floor. The weight of your own day-to-day burdens seems to evaporate, absorbed by the thick walls and the scent of cedar. You are becoming as still as the air in this room. He picks up a small, perfectly round pearl, white as a drift of Himalayan snow, and holds it up to the dim light. It catches a sliver of the afternoon sun, refracting it into a rainbow of soft pastels, pinks, blues, and faint hints of lavender. He sets it aside, placing it in a separate silk-lined compartment of his chest. This you realize is the finest of the lot, a gem that would eventually grace the neck of a princess or the crown of a sultan, but here it is simply another pearl, part of the endless cycle of harvest and refinement. The lack of pretension in his process is grounding. It reminds you that beauty does not require a pedestal to exist. It only requires a watchful eye and a quiet heart. The scent of cardamom coffee grows stronger, wafting in from the adjacent chamber where a servant keeps the small copper pot simmering over a bed of glowing coals. It is a warm, earthy fragrance that promises comfort, a contrast to the cool, clinical efficiency of the pearl sorting. The juxtaposition of the two, the sharp, invigorating spice and the soft, cool luster of the pearls, creates a sensory experience that is profoundly relaxing. You are suspended in this moment, held fast by the architecture of the house and the dedication of the merchant. As he moves to the next batch of pearls, his motions are even slower, more deliberate, as if he is trying to stretch this moment of peace into eternity. The velvet beneath his hands is worn smooth, a testament to the thousands of hours spent in this exact spot, performing this exact timeless task. You feel a profound sense of continuity, a connection to the centuries of merchants who sat in this very chair, in this very room, sorting these very treasures, long before your time and long after you're gone. Everything here is permanent, enduring, and remarkably steady. The house itself, built from the skeletal remains of the sea, stands as a fortress against the encroaching desert. It is an irony that is not lost on you. The pearls, born of the ocean, are housed in stone derived from the ocean, sheltered from the heat of the sun, in a space that feels as cool and deep as the water itself. There is a cycle here that is perfect and unbroken. As you watch the merchant, you notice how his breathing matches the rhythm of his work, a slow, deep inhalation as he gathers the pearls, and a soft, controlled exhalation as he releases them onto the velvet. It is a meditative practice that you find yourself naturally mirroring, your own breath lengthening, your heart rate slowing, your muscles yielding to the comfort of the cushion. The outside world is simply too far away to matter. The reports of steamships, the rush of commerce in the harbor, the frantic pace of the 19th century expansion, all of it is muffled by the massive coral stone walls. You are tucked away, a secret guest in a secret room, observing the slow, beautiful labor of a man at peace with his work. And as the sun begins to dip lower, casting longer, softer shadows across the floor, you realize that you could stay here forever, held in the amber of this moment, drifting on the tide of the pearls. As the afternoon sun deepens into a bruised golden hue outside, the atmosphere within the storehouse becomes even more intimate, almost sacred. The merchant reaches for a brush made of fine, soft camel hair. He uses it to gently clear away the microscopic dust that has gathered on the velvet surface, a microscopic cleanup that emphasizes his obsession with purity. You watch the brush move, flick brush glide, the repetitive motion echoing the quiet, rhythmic settling of your own mind. There is such profound relief in witnessing a task performed with such uncompromising care. In a world that is usually rushing toward the next objective, the merchant lives entirely for the present. He now moves toward a larger, ornate chest made of sandalwood, its grain deep and rich. This chest contains the most precious grapes of the harvest. He opens it slowly, the hinges emitting a soft, musical creak that sounds like a secret being whispered. Inside, tucked into individual silk-lined pockets, are pearls of extraordinary size and luster. Some are shaped like delicate teardrops, others like perfect symmetrical spheres. He does not rush to touch them. He stares at them for a long moment, allowing the silence of the room to become a bridge between himself and the treasures. You find yourself mirroring his stillness. Your eyes follow the way his gaze travels from one pearl to the next, admiring the way they hold the light even in the deepening gloom of the late afternoon. This is the heart of the merchant's secret world. He is a man who thrives on the quiet, a man who finds his strength in the dark, cool corners of his house, far away from the searing glare of the commercial docks. He is the anchor that holds this collection together, a quiet guardian of oceanic history. You feel a wave of gratitude for this sanctuary. It is a place where you can finally put down the weight of your own responsibilities, letting the cool cedar-scented air wash over you. The merchant shifts his position, the soft fabric of his robes rustling against the floor cushions. He picks up one particularly large pearl, holding it up to the dim filter light. It is a baroque pearl, irregular and unique, possessing a personality that the perfectly round ones lack. He smiles, a tiny fleeting movement of his lips that speaks volumes about his appreciation for the individual character of each gem. He doesn't see them as commodities to be bartered for gold. He sees them as stories, as remnants of the deep sea that have finally found a home. This perspective is contagious. You begin to look at the pearls not as wealth, but as quiet, luminous companions in the dark. As he returns the pearl to its velvet nest, the room seems to settle further into a state of profound peace. The only sound is the faint distant whistle of the wind as it pushes against the heavy shutters, a reminder of the heat and chaos outside that cannot touch you here. You are safe in this vault, surrounded by history and the meticulous, rhythmic labor of a man who understands that some things in life simply cannot be rushed. It is the perfect environment for reflection and rest, a sanctuary where time has no meaning beyond the next gentle motion of the sieve or the brush. If you have enjoyed this journey into the quiet, shimmering world of the Pearl Merchant, I invite you to join our community for more tales of historical serenity. Please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications so that you never miss a chance to escape into the past with us. Your support helps us continue to craft these immersive, relaxing experiences, bringing the forgotten corners of history to life for listeners like you. By joining our community, you become a part of the quiet, intentional life we strive to curate, where every story serves as a gentle reminder to breathe, to slow down, and to find beauty in the simplest of tasks. We are deeply grateful for your company in this tranquil storehouse, and we look forward to sharing many more moments of stillness and grace with you in the future. As the merchant returns his focus to the pearls, allow yourself to sink even deeper into the comfort of this moment, letting the rhythm of his work carry you toward a restful, dreamlike state, far away from the worries of the world. The transition from late afternoon to the soft, violet embrace of twilight begins to alter the character of the storehouse. The slivers of light that previously cut through the shutters like golden blades are now fading, replaced by a deep indigo dimness that makes the pearls glow with an ethereal inner radiance. They seem to capture the last remaining flickers of the day, holding on to the light even as the room sinks into shadow. The merchant does not light a lamp, he has no need for it. His hands, guided by muscle memory and a lifetime of tactile familiarity, move with an even greater sense of purpose. The brass sieves, once glinting with a bright sheen, now reflect the muted tones of the evening, their rhythm steady and hypnotic. You notice how the ambient temperature of the room drops slightly as the desert heat finally surrenders to the cooling influence of the night. The cedarwood chests seem to deepen in color, becoming darker, more substantial silhouettes against the walls. The scent of the room shifts as well. The sharp note of cardamom coffee, once dominant, is now underscored by the deepening, resinous aroma of the wood and a faint earthy sweetness that suggests the approaching evening. It's a sensory transition that signals the end of a long, productive day, yet there is no frantic rush to finish. The merchant simply continues his rhythm, a slow pendulum like motion that matches the steady, calming thrum of your own heartbeat. He begins to group the pearls into small velvet lined bowls, each one designated for a specific quality or size. The sound of the pearls hitting the wood of the bowls is distinct, a hollow, resonant thud that contrasts with the earlier, lighter clatter on the velvet. It is a satisfying final sound, signifying the completion of a stage in his work. He works with such extreme patience that you find yourself losing track of whether minutes or hours have passed. There is a profound meditative beauty in watching someone perform a task that has no ending, a task that exists solely for the sake of the act itself. He is not sorting to sell, he is sorting to exist, to find his place in the world, to keep the quiet pulse of his life steady. You feel your own thoughts beginning to drift, detaching from the rigid structures of logic and drifting instead toward the fluid, shimmering imagery of the pearls. The way they tumble, the way they catch the light, the way they settle into the velvet, it is all becoming a part of your own internal landscape. You are no longer just an observer. You are a participant in this quiet nocturnal ritual. The merchant's shadow, elongated by the fading light, moves across the walls with the slow grace of a dancer. You find yourself mesmerized by the way his hands navigate the darkness, his fingers knowing exactly where every pearl is, as if they are guided by an invisible ancient compass. The stillness of the room is now absolute. The world outside has gone silent, the hustle of the harbor replaced by the vast quiet expanse of the desert night. Within these thick coral stone walls you are cocooned. The sound of the brass safe, though softer now, still provides that reliable, rhythmic shh that centers you. It is the sound of a heartbeat, the sound of life proceeding in its most orderly, peaceful fashion. You feel the tension draining from your shoulders, the tightness in your chest unspooling, the frantic energy of the day settling into a deep, heavy peace. You are not meant to do anything here. You are not meant to achieve, to perform, or to decide. You are simply meant to be, to witness, to rest. He reaches for a small carved wooden box, the lid intricately inlaid with mother of pearl. Inside is a collection of the smallest, finest seed pearls, thousands of them, looking like grains of sand, yet each one perfectly formed, each one a testament to the life of the mollusk that created it. He pours them out slowly, a waterfall of white, and you watch them pour on the velvet like a miniature snowdrift. The sight is so delicate, so impossibly fine, that you hold your own breath, afraid that a sudden movement might disturb them. He takes a fine-tipped tool and begins to nudge them into rows, a task so delicate it seems almost impossible for a human hand to perform. But he does it with ease, his fingers moving with a fluid, liquid precision. The patience he displays is a balm for your spirit. In your world, everything is immediate, everything is rapid, everything is transient. But here, in 1885, time is not a resource to be spent, it is a medium to be inhabited. The merchant is a master of this medium, bending it to his will, slowing it down until it feels as thick and viscous as honey. You are learning from him, breathing in the quiet, learning to find the beauty in the slow, the small, and the unseen. As the darkness in the room deepens, the pearls become the only source of light, their cool pearlescent glow lighting up his weathered hands and the intense focused expression on his face. You are held by this light, comforted by this darkness, and invited to sink further into the profound, restorative silence of this historic storehouse. The world outside is a blur of noise and light, but here there is only the pearl, the velvet, and the soft, steady rhythm of a man who knows that peace is the greatest treasure of all. The night has fully settled over Bahrain, wrapping the storehouse in a cool, protective silence that feels almost liquid. The transition from day to darkness has not disrupted the merchant. Instead, it has only served to sharpen his focus, narrowing his world down to the small illuminated circle of his work. He pulls a brass lantern closer, its flame shielded by thin translucent panes of mica. The light it casts is soft and amber-hued, flickering rhythmically against the textured coral stone walls. This light catches the surface of the pearls and sends tiny dancing reflections across the ceiling, mirroring the gentle movement of the stars that are undoubtedly shining with intense brilliance above the desert. He continues his task, his movement becoming increasingly fluid. There is a sense of completion in the way he handles each batch, a ritualistic finality that suggests he has done this every night for decades. He is currently working with a large cluster of Baroque pearls, those unique gems that defied the standard round mold in the amber light. They take on a surreal, almost sculptural quality. He examines each one, turning it over in the light to observe the way its irregular surface catches the glow. He seems to be having a conversation with them, not with words, but with the subtle tilt of his head and the gentle pressure of his fingertips. It is a deeply human moment, reminding you that even in the pursuit of commerce, there is room for wonder, for artistic appreciation, and for the quiet acknowledgement of the extraordinary. The air remains scented with the fading traces of cedar and the now cool dregs of the cardamom coffee, creating an atmosphere that is at once grounding and ethereal. You find yourself drifting in the periphery of his work, anchored by the rhythmic clicking of the pearls as they are returned to their designated containers. The sound is the heartbeat of this house, a soft wooden percussion that is as steady as the tide. You are no longer watching from the outside. You feel as though you are part of the room itself, a ghost of the future witnessing the quiet, persistent pulse of the past. The feeling of safety here is absolute. The thick walls have absorbed all the noise of the century, the clatter of steam-powered machinery, the urgency of telegraph messages, the expansion of empires, and have transformed them into this single hushed moment of stillness. He reaches for a small velvet-lined tray and begins the process of pairing. This is the most delicate stage of all, for it requires an eye for symmetry and color that can distinguish between shades of cream, white, pink, and even the rare deep silver of the Gulf pearls. He places two pearls side by side on the velvet. He stares at them, then nudges them slightly. He stares again. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, he moves one to a different spot, replacing it with another. It is a slow, elegant dance of discernment. You find that you are holding your breath, waiting for the moment he finds the perfect match. When he finally does, when the two pearls sit together in perfect mirror like harmony, you feel a surge of satisfaction, as if you yourself had finally solved an impossible puzzle. The merchant looks up for the first time in what feels like an hour. His eyes are dark, reflecting the flickering lantern light, and there is a profound, tranquil peace etched into the lines of his face. He does not see you, of course, but he looks in your direction, his gaze passing through the space you inhabit with a gentle, absent-minded quality. It is as if he is looking past the walls, past the present moment, into the vast silent history of the sea that provided him with these treasures. He sighs, a long, slow exhalation that seems to release the last of the day's responsibilities, and he begins to tidy his station. He clears the velvet of the dust, gently sweeping the stray fibers into a small pile. He closes the brass sieves with a soft metallic clink. He is concluding his day, and in doing so, he is signaling to you that it is time to conclude yours. There is a sense of immense comfort in watching him put things away. It is the closing of a book, the ending of a lullaby. He stands slowly, his joints moving with the practiced grace of a man who knows the value of deliberate motion. He reaches up to adjust the heavy wooden shutters, checking them one last time to ensure they are locked against the night wind. The sound of the iron latch sliding into place is the final, definitive punctuation mark of the evening. The storehouse is now entirely sealed, a vault, a treasure chest, a place of perfect stillness. He turns toward the shadows, leaving the lantern burning just enough to cast a warm, fading glow over the room. You are left alone with the silence, the scent of the sea, and the knowledge that you are tucked away in the deepest, safest corner of history. The outside world has ceased to exist. There is only this quiet shadow room and the lingering shimmer of the pearls in the dark. The merchant moves through the dim light with the quiet authority of a man who owns the silence. He has extinguished the lantern, leaving the room illuminated only by the faint, silvery luminescence of the moon leaking through the microscopic gaps in the shutters. In this deep natural twilight, the pearls that remain in their open wooden trays seem to hum with a life of their own. They are no longer just commodities. They are little vessels of moonlight captured from the depths of the Persian Gulf. You find yourself lying back on the floor, the woven reed mat beneath you cool and firm against your spine, while the scent of the sea feels closer now, as if the walls have become porous to the night air. The merchant, having finished his duties, has retreated to the corner of the room, curling up on a pile of thick, hand-woven rugs. His breathing has already deepened into the steady, slow rhythm of a man who has earned his rest. This is the beauty of the merchant's life, the total alignment of effort and ease. He has spent the day in the service of beauty, and now he is rewarded with a sleep that is undisturbed and profound. You too feel the weight of your eyelids, the day's long journey of observations, the metallic of the sieves, the gentle collision of the pearls, and the grounding, earthy aroma of the cedarwood have all combined to create a sedative effect that is impossible to resist. You begin to drift, your consciousness thinning like silk stretched over a frame. The room feels incredibly safe, a fortress against the anxieties of the century. You are no longer worried about the passage of time or the demands of the world beyond the coral stone walls. In this 1885 sanctuary, history is not a burden, it is a soft, warm blanket. As you slip further into the dream state, The walls of the storehouse seem to expand. You imagine the sea outside, not as a source of trade, but as a vast, rhythmic cradle rocking the earth to sleep. You imagine the oysters deep beneath the surface, slowly, quietly walking away to create these treasures. Their process a mirror to your own need for quiet growth and patience. There is no urgency in the ocean, and there is no urgency here. You are learning the lesson of the merchant that to produce something of value, one must first be willing to sit in the dark, to be patient with the process, and to find contentment in the quiet, repetitive motions of the heart. The pearls are the fruits of that patience, and tonight you are resting alongside them. The darkness is not empty, it is full of peace. It is a thick velvet darkness that holds you securely in its embrace. You feel as if you are floating in the very same medium that birthed the pearls, a calm, deep, and protected space where nothing can reach you. The scent of cardamom coffee lingers in your mind, a faint, comforting ghost that grounds you even as you lose track of where your body ends and the floor begins. You are perfectly still, you are completely at peace. The rhythmic sound of the distant sea, once a mere background, now becomes the primary melody of your rest, a soft oceanic lullaby that carries you into the deepest, most restorative corners of your subconscious. This experience is the core of what we strive to create for you. Sleepy History with Theodore is a sleep history storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. We believe that by looking back at these moments of human craftsmanship and historical tranquility, we can find a clearer, calmer path forward in our own lives. We invite you to continue this journey with us, to step back into the quiet corners of the past, and to allow these stories to serve as a bridge to your own peaceful rest. As the night deepens, let the silence of the merchant storehouse be your own. Let the coolness of the coral stone walls protect you, and let the gentle, shimmering memory of the pearls guide you into a night of unbroken, nourishing sleep. You are safe, you are seen, and you are welcome here in the quiet halls of history. The night deepens, and with it, the sense of absolute security within the storehouse reaches a peak. There is a peculiar heavy silence that exists only in rooms built of coral and stone, a silence that seems to have its own physical presence. It is thick, insulating, and remarkably protective. As you lie there, the transition from the waking world to the world of dreams is seamless, encouraged by the lingering, earthy perfume of the aged cedarwood and the faint salty breath of the Gulf that manages to find its way through the thick walls. You are now fully submerged in the rhythm of this 1885 century. The outside world, with its telegraph wires, its clattering steam engines, and its relentless push toward the modern is a universe away, effectively barred by the massive carved wooden doors and the impenetrable stone foundation of this merchant's vault. The pearls, resting in their velvet-lined trays, seem to draw the moonlight to themselves, glowing with a soft, milky luminescence that provides just enough light to keep the darkness from feeling heavy. They are silent now, no longer colliding, no longer being sorted. They have been organized, categorized, and tucked away with the same care a gardener might take in planting seeds before the winter. There is a profound sense of order here. Every pearl is in its place, every task of the day has been concluded, and every account has been settled. This meticulous organization acts as a powerful balm for your own mind. It suggests that if the merchant can bring such perfect quiet harmony to a handful of raw, chaotic treasures from the deep, then you too can bring order and harmony to the scattered pieces of your own day. You find yourself observing the room from a place of deep detachment. The merchant's rhythmic, slow breathing from the corner acts as a metronome, pacing your own descent into relaxation. With every exhale, he seems to release the tension of the day, and you find your own muscles mimicking this release. Your shoulders, which have carried the weight of 1,000 small decisions and obligations, now sink into the floor. Your hands, which have spent the day grasping at tasks, now lie open, palms upward, empty and free. There is no need to hold on to anything here. The storehouse is a place where you are invited to let go, to shed the identity you wear in the bright, harsh light of the day, and simply exist as a presence in the dark. The memory of the metallic shh of the brass sheaves continues to play in the back of your mind, but it has softened, transformed from a sound of labor into a sound of comfort. It is like the sound of shifting sand dunes or the distant muffled tumble of waves against a distant shore. It is the sound of time passing, not in seconds or minutes, but in steady, unhurried layers. You are becoming a part of this history. You are a guest in this 1885 house, a witness to a way of life that values the slow, the intimate, and the tactile. You are learning that to be truly at rest, one must first be truly still, not just in the body, but in the spirit. As you drift closer to the threshold of sleep, you think of the merchant. He is a man who dedicated his life to the pursuit of these small, hard, luminous objects. Yet in the end, he is defined not by the wealth he accumulated, but by the peace he cultivated. He knew that the real treasure was not the pearl itself, but the stillness required to appreciate it. He knew that if you rush, you miss the luster. If you are anxious, you miss the weight. If you are distracted, you miss the story. You are taking this lesson into your dreams tonight. You are allowing yourself the time to notice the texture of your own peace, the weight of your own relaxation, and the quiet story that your own body tells when it is finally completely at rest. The room feels like a ship anchored in the harbor of the night, swaying gently on the currents of time. The cedar wood chests hold the history of the sea, the velvet cushions hold the softness of the earth, and you hold the quietude of this moment. Everything is perfectly balanced. The air is cool, the scent is calming, and the darkness is kind. There is no need to wake, no need to anticipate the morning, and no need to prepare for the future. There is only the present in all its quiet, shimmering, pearl-dusted glory. You are safe here in this secret storehouse, sheltered by the walls of the past, and cradled by the rhythm of a master's work. Allow the last embers of consciousness to fade, just as the last glimmers of the moon fade into the dawn of your own quiet, restorative sleep. The deep indigo silence of the midnight hour has transformed the storehouse into a sanctuary of total abstraction. You are no longer in a specific room in 1885. You are in a state of being, a pocket of tranquility that exists outside of the constraints of history. The air, cooled by the massive coral stone foundation, feels thin, pure, and invigoratingly crisp against your skin. It is as if the very atmosphere of the room has been filtered of all impurities, leaving behind only the essential notes of cedarwood, old parchment, and the lingering sweet memory of cardamom. Every breath you take is a meditation, a slow, conscious intake of this ancient, purified space. You feel your heartbeat slowing down to match the immense tectonic stillness of the building, a rhythm that feels as steady as the rotation of the earth itself. In the darkness, your senses heighten, but they do not demand effort. You can hear the minute sounds of the house settling, a soft, dry creak from a floorboard, the barely audible expansion of the wooden chests as they adjust to the cooler temperature of the night. These are not signs of decay, but of life, of a living, breathing structure that has stood for generations, guarding its secrets with an unwavering, stoic loyalty. You feel a profound sense of kinship with this house. Like it, you are a vessel for experience, a container for the day's impressions, now being organized, classified, and stored away in the soft, dark velvet of your subconscious. The merchant's work with the pearls was a metaphor for your own mental process. You are now sifting through the events of your life, keeping the luster, smoothing the rough edges, and setting aside the heavy, unnecessary burdens that no longer serve you. The pearl trays are now resting in the dark, their contents hidden from sight, yet you can still feel their presence. They are like small concentrated points of potential energy, tiny hard stars that have been brought down from the deep ocean to wait for the light of morning. Their very existence is a testament to the power of transformation, how something so raw, so irritant, and so hidden can, with enough time and patience, become something of breathtaking, luminous beauty. You are currently in the process of your own transformation. The stress, the noise, and the pressures of your daily life are the raw matter, and the stillness of this night is the oyster. You are layering your experiences, coating the irritants with the nacre of calm, allowing the pressure of the world to build the pearl of your own serenity. There is a deep resonant wisdom in this realization. You do not need to fight your circumstances. You only need to survive them with grace, turning the abrasive elements of your life into something beautiful through the simple act of enduring. The merchant understood this better than anyone. He did not seek to change the ocean. He sought to understand it, to respect its bounty, and to walk within the rhythm of the tides. By mirroring his approach, by slowing down, by breathing deep, and by embracing the dark, you are reclaiming your power. You are no longer a victim of the clock, but a master of your own internal time. You feel the weight of your body anchoring you to the floor, a comforting heavy sensation that makes the act of moving feel unnecessary and impossible. Your limbs are heavy, your thoughts are fluid, and the barrier between your physical self and the surrounding space is dissolving. You are becoming a part of the house, a shadow within a shadow, a whisper of peace within a vault of history. This is the ultimate form of rest, a state where you are completely released from the duty of performing, of explaining, or of existing for others. Go out here, you exist only for yourself, in the safety of this ancient forgotten room. If you find that this journey has brought you a sense of relief, know that you are not alone in your pursuit of this quietude. Sleepy History with Theodore combines the power of AI to reimagine fictional historical tales, bringing peace, relaxation, and positive emotional values to our listeners. We are honored that you have chosen to spend your time here, in the heart of this Bahraini storehouse, allowing yourself the luxury of a slow, meditative retreat. As you settle into this final dream-filled stretch of the night, keep the memory of the pearls close to your heart, small, heart, bright, and perfectly at peace. Let them be a reminder that no matter how turbulent the sea outside may be, there is always a place of stillness to be found if you are willing to build it with your own patience. Sleep now, knowing that the morning will come in its own time, and until then, you are under the protection of history, held by the stone and the dark, perfectly safe and deeply, profoundly asleep. The air in the storehouse is so still that it feels as if the very atoms of the room have ceased their vibration, creating a vacuum of peace where no sound can penetrate. You are lying in the center of this void, suspended in a state of absolute tranquil awareness. The moonlight, now filtering through the shutters with a silver white intensity, traces the edges of the cedar wood chests, turning them into solid dark silhouettes against the gray blue shadows of the floor. It is a world of monochrome beauty where the absence of color only serves to heighten the richness of the textures around you. The grain of the wood, the weave of the reed mats, the subtle irregularities of the stone walls. All of these details are highlighted by the soft cold glow, creating a landscape that is both austere and deeply welcoming. You find yourself drifting through memories, not your own, but the collective history of the space itself. You can feel the echoes of the men who sat where the merchant sat, the decades of trade, the thousands of hours of quiet, meticulous work. It is a comforting thought that this room has seen so much and yet remains so constant. It is a monument to the virtue of continuity. In an era where everything is being replaced, updated, or discarded, there is a profound grounding comfort in knowing that some things are meant to last, to be maintained with care, and to serve as a witness to the passage of generations. You are the latest link in this chain, a silent observer who has been granted temporary asylum within these enduring walls. The scent of the cedarwood has become more than just a smell. It is a physical sensation, a cool, dry pressure that fills your lungs and cleanses your thoughts. It reminds you of the permanence of nature, of the life that was lived, harvested, and transformed into this protective shell. You are being enveloped by this history, pulled into its depths until you are no longer a separate entity, but a part of the house's own story. The tension in your muscles has completely dissolved, leaving your body in a state of soft, yielding surrender. You are as pliant as the velvet that held the pearls, as ready to receive as the brass sieves were to filter. Your thoughts are no longer linear. They are circular, drifting like the pearls in the sieve, catching the light and then turning into the shadow. There is no urgency to arrive at a conclusion, no pressure to understand the mechanics of your own peace. You simply feel it. It is a warmth that starts in the center of your chest and radiates outward, a gentle glow that matches the luminescence of the pearls. You are becoming the pearl, hardened by experience, polished by time, and now resting in the safety of a dark, quiet place. The journey to become this version of yourself was long, but the reward is this moment of absolute, undisturbed existence. The merchant in the corner is still, his breath a soft, rhythmic whistle that you can feel more than hear. He is a testament to the fact that one can live a life of significance without noise, without fame, and without the need for constant movement. He lived for the pearl, and in doing so, he became the master of his own tranquility. You are learning from him, adopting his philosophy of existence. You are learning that the most valuable things in life are often the most quiet, the most hidden, and the most patient. You are learning to prize your own silence, to protect your own peace, and to curate your own storehouse of memories. As the night moves toward the hour of deepest calm, you realize that you do not want to wake up and you do not want to change. You want to remain in this suspended state forever, held by the stone, comforted by the wood, and illuminated by the memory of the sea. The world outside is a distant, meaningless concept, a flickering shadow on the other side of a wall that you have no intention of breaching. You are home, you are here, and in the here and now, there is nothing but the slow, deep, and infinitely satisfying rhythm of the night. You breathe in the history, you breathe out the exhaustion, and you allow the silence to take you deeper into the dark, welcoming you into the most profound sleep you have ever known, where the only thing that exists is the quiet, perfect, and everlasting shimmer of the sea's hidden treasures. The darkness of the pre-dawn hour is the most precious time of all within the merchant's house, a period where the boundary between the physical world and the world of dreams becomes almost non-existent. You are now so deeply immersed in the stillness that your own pulse seems to have synchronized with the slow geological rhythm of the coral stone walls. Every breath you take is a rhythmic exchange with the history of this space, a quiet dialogue between your spirit and the legacy of the thousands of pearls that once occupied this room. You are resting in a sanctuary that has been fortified against the chaos of time, a place where the air itself seems to be infused with the patience of centuries. The scent of cedar has intensified, growing rich and resinous in the cooling air, a reminder of the deep ancient forest from which these chests were crafted, and a sea that provided the gems they once held. There is a profound sense of completeness in the way you are feeling right now. All the fragmented parts of your day, all the scattered thoughts and unfinished business that usually plague your mind have been neatly tucked away, much like the pearls were tucked into their velvet compartments by the merchant's steady hand. You have let go of the need for control. You have surrendered the desire to influence, to build, or to change your surroundings. In this place, you are a guest, a witness to a quiet, elegant ritual of existence. The merchant's work, which you watched with such fascination earlier, now serves as the template for your own rest, a methodical step by step process of letting go until nothing remains but the essence of peace. You are refining your own consciousness, shedding the abrasive, unnecessary layers of the day, and revealing the smooth, luminous pearl of your own inner self. As you sink deeper into this state, you can feel the influence of the ocean, even though it is miles away. The memory of the water, its vastness, its crushing pressure, and its silent, rhythmic tides is embedded in the very fabric of the house. You are effectively floating, supported by the weight of history and the soft velvet texture of the floor mat. The silence is no longer an absence of sound. It is a presence, a heavy velvet cloak that you have drawn around your shoulders. It is a protective, insulating layer that makes you feel entirely invincible, shielded from the worries of the world, from the passage of the hours, and from the demands of the future. You are, for the first time in a long time, truly and completely untouchable. The image of the merchant, now lost in the depths of his own restorative slumber, is a final calming anchor for your mind. He is the guardian of this peace, the one who ensures that the rhythm of the room remains steady and unbroken. His presence is a comfort, a sign that even the most diligent worker eventually finds their rest, that even the most complex tasks have a conclusion, and that there is dignity in the simple necessary act of lying down. You are following his lead, moving in harmony with the natural end of the day. You are allowing the silence to consume your thoughts one by one until there is nothing left but the sensation of being, of existing in the dark, and of breathing in the cool, sweet air of a room that has been kept for you and for you alone. If this journey through the quiet storehouse of history has provided you with the rest you seek, we invite you to remember this space whenever the world becomes too loud or the burdens of the day become too heavy. Please consider subscribing to our channel and becoming a regular traveler in our historical retreats. By joining our community, you support the continued creation of these immersive restorative experiences, ensuring that the stories of the past can always provide a sanctuary for those who need it most. We are deeply thankful for the time you have shared with us tonight, and we are honored to be part of your nightly ritual of peace. As you drift finally into the unreachable depths of sleep, remember that the pearls of your own inner quiet are always there, waiting for you to find them in the dark, polished by your patience and glowing with the light of your own perfectly rested heart. Sleep now, held by the history of the sea, protected by the stone, and guided into the deepest, most beautiful dreams by the memory of a night in Bahrain. The silence of the house has evolved into something almost tactile, a soft velvet weight that presses gently against your skin, encouraging you to melt further into the floor. Outside, the world of 1885 is drifting through the small dark hours, unaware of the sanctuary that exists within these walls. You can almost feel the desert wind outside, sweeping across the vast empty sands. Yet here, the air remains perfectly, miraculously still. This is the ultimate luxury, the ability to remain untouched by the passing of time, to exist within a bubble of calm that refuses to be punctured by the stresses of the era. The storehouse acts as a filter, removing the harsh edges of reality and leaving only the smooth, rounded sensations of peace. You find that your mind is now entirely clear, a clean slate upon which the night is painting the softest of dreams. You think of the merchant again not as a character in a story, but as a silent companion who shares this space with you. Even in his sleep, there is a sense of purpose to him, a lingering dedication to the life he has built. He is a man who understands the value of the unseen, who knows that the most precious things in the world are those that do not scream for attention, but wait in the dark to be discovered. You are adopting this philosophy, moving away from the need to be visible, to be productive, or to be defined by what you achieve. In the darkness, you are defined only by your presence, by your breath, and by the profound, deep-seated peace that you have cultivated within yourself. It is a liberating realization, one that lifts the final remnants of anxiety from your spirit. The texture of the environment continues to soothe you. The coolness of the coral stone is a constant, steadying influence, a reminder that Earth is solid, reliable, and ancient. The cedar wood, with its dry, woody scent, evokes images of craftsmanship, of wood being planed, smoothed, and polished by hand, a process that mirrors your own mental state. You are being planed and smoothed by this experience, your jagged edges being filed down by the rhythmic, repetitive nature of the narrative. You are becoming as polished as the pearls, as ready to catch the light as the gems that the merchant spent his day sorting. It is a quiet internal polishing that occurs in the absence of light, a transformation that you can feel happening in the deepest layers of your subconscious. As the night continues to stretch out, the sense of time begins to lose its meaning entirely. There is no such thing as an hour or a minute here. There is only the rhythm of your breath, the cadence of the house, and the steady, unbreakable flow of the night. You find yourself drifting in and out of consciousness, each time sinking a little deeper, each time finding a new layer of rest that you hadn't even realized was missing. It is like descending into a calm blue pool, the surface tension breaking softly as you glide down into the cool, silent depths where nothing can disturb you. The worries of the future, the problems you thought you had to solve, the tasks you feared you might forget. All of these things have been abandoned on the surface, left behind in the world of light and noise. You are safe. The walls of the storehouse are thick, the shutters are heavy, and the peace you have found is absolute. You can trust this space. You can trust the history that resides here. You can trust the quiet man in the corner who has dedicated his life to the pursuit of beauty. Everything in this room has been curated to ensure your comfort, to guarantee your rest, and to provide you with the most serene environment possible. There is no reason to wake. There is no reason to think. There is only the opportunity to exist in this perfectly balanced, perfectly quiet, and perfectly secure space. Let the silence be your guide, let the darkness be your blanket, and let the gentle rhythmic motion of your own breathing be the only thing that marks the passage of time. You are exactly where you were meant to be, at the heart of a sacred world, resting in the cool, sweet air of a Bahraini night in 1885, where everything is right, everything is still, and everything is at peace. The stillness in the room has reached a state of crystalline perfection, as if the very air has solidified into a cooling, protective layer around your body. You are lying upon a woven mat, and with every passing moment, you feel yourself becoming more integrated with the floor, more at one with the foundational structure of this ancient house. The darkness has lost its foreboding quality. It is now simply a canvas for the quiet internal light you have nurtured throughout this experience. You are fully aware of your surroundings, yet they do not demand your attention. The cedarwood, the coral, the velvet, all of these elements are now part of your own internal landscape, a mental map of comfort that you can navigate with your eyes closed. You are in a state of deep restorative hibernation, where the only thing required of you is the simple involuntary act of breathing. Think of the patience required to live in 1885, a world without the instantaneous gratification of the modern age. Think of the merchant whose life was measured in seasons of harvest, in the slow growth of the oyster, and in the methodical, repetitive labor of his craft. There is a profound integrity to that way of life, a commitment to the process that is almost entirely lost to us now. By inhabiting this space, you are reclaiming that integrity. You are slowing your own pulse to match the pace of the pre-industrial world, a place where time was an endless flowing river rather than a series of frantic ticking seconds. You are finding that when you stop trying to rush the future, the present becomes exponentially richer, deeper, and more satisfying. The rhythmic, musical clatter of the pearls, as they moved across the velvet earlier in the day is now a distant melodic echo in your mind, a soothing lullaby that continues to play in the background of your consciousness. It is the sound of order being restored, of chaos being transformed into beauty. Whenever you feel your thoughts trying to race ahead, trying to anticipate the morning or worry about the day to come, you only need to return to the sound of those pearls. Imagine them rolling, one by one, across that soft dark fabric. Imagine them clicking gently and rhythmically into their place. It is a perfect mechanism for grounding, a mental anchor that you can use whenever the world outside becomes too intense. You are currently drifting through the most peaceful, undisturbed hours of the night. The merchant is still, his presence a silent assurance that you are not alone in this sanctuary. He is a guardian of the quiet, a sentinel who has finished his work and is now enjoying the well-deserved reward of a deep, dreamless sleep. You are following his lead, mirroring his release of tension and finding the same profound, bottomless peace that he has achieved. There is no urgency to wake, for there is nowhere to be that is better than here. There is no reason to speak, for there is nothing to say that is as important as the silence itself. The sense of security you feel is not just physical, it is spiritual. You are shielded by the weight of history, by the wisdom of the past, and by the intentionality of this environment. Every element of this storehouse was designed with a purpose, from the thickness of the walls to the placement of the shutters, and that purpose was protection. You are reaping the benefits of that design. You are being held by the architecture, nurtured by the atmosphere, and guided by the gentle, repetitive nature of the narrative toward a state of total, absolute rest. Allow yourself to descend even further into the dark, letting go of the last fragile threads of consciousness. You are safe. You are at home. You are resting in the heart of history, and as the night continues to hold you in its steady, unshakable embrace, you find that the world of light and noise is drifting further and further away, replaced by the cool, sweet, and perfectly quiet promise of a dream that will carry you through until the morning sun finds you refreshed and whole. The deep, resonant quiet of the pre-dawn hours has become your constant companion, an enveloping presence that feels both ancient and comforting. You are lying in the very heart of the storehouse, and the stillness around you is so complete that it seems to vibrate with a soft internal energy. This is the time when the world feels as though it has been put on pause, held in a state of suspended animation. The air is exceptionally cool, having lost the residual heat of the previous day, and it carries the sharp, clean fragrance of cedarwood, mixed with the faint, persistent memory of the sea. You feel as though you are resting at the bottom of a calm, clear pool, where the pressure of the outside world cannot reach you, and where the only thing that exists is the steady rhythmic pulse of your own existence. Think of the massive coral stone walls that surround you. They are not merely architecture, they are witnesses. They have felt the heat of 100 summers and the cool relief of 1,000 nights. They have absorbed the quiet, dedicated work of generations of merchants, and they have held that history in their porous, calcified structure. By resting here, you are allowing that history to enter into your own spirit. You are being grounded by the solidity of the stone, steadied by the permanence of the foundations, and cradled by the centuries of silence that these walls have protected. There is a profound sense of belonging here, a feeling that you have finally found the space where you were always meant to rest, a place where time slows down to match the beat of your heart. The pearls, though now hidden in their chests, are still a part of the room's atmosphere. You can feel their presence, thousands of little moons, dormant and waiting, holding the light of the past within them. They represent the ultimate triumph of patience over time. They were formed in the darkness of the sea, nurtured by the slow, rhythmic cycle of the tides, and brought here to be organized with the same patience that created them. You are following the same path. You are sitting in your own darkness, nurturing your own internal peace, and allowing the rhythm of this night to polish your spirit. You are learning that there is no need to rush the harvest of your own life. The beauty, the wisdom, and the luster will come in their own time, provided you are willing to stay the course and remain as steady as the merchant in his work. The merchant himself remains a quiet, unwavering presence in the corner of the room. His sleep is a testament to the fact that peace is a skill, one that can be practiced and perfected until it becomes an automatic response to the world. You are practicing that skill now. With every inhale, you draw in the quiet of the storehouse. With every exhale, you release the last lingering fragments of your daily life. You are becoming a master of your own tranquility, learning how to lower your defenses, how to soften your muscles, and how to surrender your burdens to the floor beneath you. It is a liberating experience, a shedding of the self-imposed roles and responsibilities that often keep us awake, restless, and disconnected from our own true peaceful nature. As you drift closer to the final reaches of the night, you realize that this journey has been a return to basics. It is about the simple pleasure of a quiet room, the scent of wood and spice, and the opportunity to rest without interruption. It is about the luxury of being completely unapologetically still. You have allowed yourself to be fully present, to engage with the environment, and to accept the grace of the moment. There is nothing else you need to do. There is no other place you need to be. The sun will eventually crest the horizon, the shutters will be opened, and the day will begin again. But that is a concern for a different time. For now, there is only the darkness, the silence, and the profound restorative power of this secret storehouse in 1885. You are tucked safely away, a traveler in the halls of history, floating on the tide of the night toward a morning of total, absolute, and refreshing clarity. The final watch of the night descends with a gentle, velvety authority, wrapping the storehouse in a shroud of such deep and profound stillness that you feel as if you are the only soul remaining in the entire world. In this sanctuary of coral and cedar, time has dissolved into a single eternal point of existence. You are no longer measuring the night by hours or minutes. You are drifting along the currents of a dream time that feels entirely ancient, entirely natural, and entirely your own. The air is so crisp and cool that every breath feels like a cleansing draught, washing away the last remnants of the chaotic, noisy reality that you left behind at the threshold of this room. The scent of aged wood has become a permanent part of your sensory landscape, a grounding, earthy aroma that speaks of stability, history, and a quiet satisfaction of a life lived with deliberate care. You find yourself observing the room through the filter of your closed eyelids, seeing the silhouettes of the chests and the heavy, immovable geometry of the stone walls. These shapes are comforting, solid, and reassuring. They are the architecture of a sanctuary designed specifically to keep the world at bay. You recognize now that the merchant's house is not just a place of commerce, it is a fortress of the spirit. It is a place where one can safely withdraw from the noise and the friction of the outside world, to recenter, to breathe, and to simply be. You are currently occupying that space, letting your mind expand to feel the stillness, letting your awareness soften until you are as fluid as the water that bursts the pearls you spend the day contemplating. Think of the life of a pearl, the way it begins as a small, intrusive piece of grit, a source of irritation that is slowly, painstakingly coated in layers of nacre, until it becomes something of exquisite, undeniable value. Your life is not so different. The challenges you face, the irritants that disturb your peace, the pressures that you feel in your day-to-day existence, these are all the raw material for your own internal pearl. Tonight, in this room, you are adding a layer of peace to that work. You are coating your stresses with the nacre of this silence, smoothing the edges of your worries with the polish of this stillness. You are allowing the pressure of the world to work for you rather than against you, turning your own experiences into something precious, luminous, and enduring. The merchant's rhythmic, slow breathing serves as the steady drumbeat for your own subconscious. It is a reminder that there is a natural tempo to life, a tempo that we often ignore in favor of the frantic, artificial pace of the modern world. By listening to him, by matching your own breath to his, you are recalibrating your entire being. You are letting go of the internal clock that always demands more, faster, and better. Instead, you are embracing the pace of the Parasota, slow, deliberate, focused, and utterly content. This is the pace of the tides. This is the pace of the earth. This is the pace that allows for true rest and genuine, lasting restoration. As the night nears its end, you feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for this experience. You are grateful for the walls that protected you, for the merchant who shared his word with you, and for the simple, beautiful fact of this quiet, restorative interval. You have traveled back to 1885, not to change anything or to accomplish anything, but to find a part of yourself that was hidden in the noise, the part that knows how to be still, the part that knows how to be at peace. You are ready now to carry this stillness with you. Even when the morning comes, even when the shutters are thrown open and the heat of the Gulf sun returns to the world, you will have this reservoir of calm to draw upon. You have built this here in the dark, and it is yours to keep. The darkness is now soft, warm, and inviting. The last of your thoughts are falling away like sand from an hourglass, leaving you in a state of pure, unadulterated existence. You are perfectly supported, perfectly secure, and perfectly at ease. The world outside will be there when you choose to return to it. But for now, there is only the deep, sweet, and infinitely peaceful promise of sleep. Let your mind become as clear and empty as the velvet trays before the harvest. Let your body become as heavy and immovable as the coral stone. You are drifting, you are floating, and you are finally completely home. Sleep is coming, gentle and sure, like the tide returning to the shore, and you are ready to be carried out into the vast, quiet expanse of your own dreams, where the pearls of your peace will shimmer and glow until the morning light finds you, rested and ready to face the new day, with a heart as calm as the sea itself. The dawn is approaching, though here in the deep interior of the storehouse, it is still the profound velvet black of the deepest night. You are existing in a state of suspended animation where the silence has become so dense that it feels like a physical cradle holding you aloft in a dream state of absolute comfort. The air has grown even cooler, a refreshing crisp temperature that settles deep into your lungs and leaves you feeling invigorated even as your body prepares for the final, deepest descent into slumber. You are no longer consciously tracking your breath. It has become an automatic involuntary act, as rhythmic and predictable as the rising and falling of the tide. This is the ultimate goal of your journey, a state of total surrender, where the mind ceases its analytical work and the body simply settles into the comfort of being. Consider the physical reality of the storehouse. You are surrounded by objects that have been crafted by hand and touched by time. The cedar wood with its tight, dense grain represents years of slow growth and careful curation. The coral stone, a product of the sea itself, is a testament to the patient, collaborative work of thousands of tiny, living organisms. You are resting within a structure that is in itself a monument to patience. Every surface, every corner, and every shadow in this room holds the energy of that long-term perspective. When you lie here, you are absorbing that energy, letting the centuries of stability permeate your own being. It is an infusion of calm that reaches past the surface level worries of your daily life and addresses the deeper, more foundational need for stability and rest. You feel a sense of profound detachment from the persona you inhabit in the light of day. That person, with their responsibilities, their ambitions, their fears, and their endless to-do lists, feels like a distant, slightly blurry character in a book you read a long time ago. Go out here in the dark. You are not a worker, a provider, or a person with a history. You are simply an awareness. You are a witness to the silence. You are the occupant of this space. You have no needs that cannot be met by the gentle cooling of the air or the firm support of the floor beneath you. This detachment is the key to your peace. By acknowledging that you are separate from your problems, you gain the perspective needed to realize that your problems are temporary, while your capacity for peace is a permanent essential part of who you are. The merchant sleeping soundly in his corner is a silent teacher. His life is a master class in the art of simplicity. He spends his days dealing with the most beautiful, valuable, and complex objects in the world. Yet he returns to a simple mat on the floor, a cup of bitter coffee, and a quiet room. He does not need the luxury of the objects he sorts. He finds his luxury in the process of sorting them, in the act of focusing his mind, and in the comfort of a life well lived and well organized. You are learning to emulate this. You are realizing that true wealth is not found in the acquisition of things, but in the cultivation of your own internal environment. If you can, keep your mind as organized as his trays, your spirit as steady as his hands, and your rest as prioritized as his nightly sleep, you will possess a treasure far greater than any pearl. As the night moves into its final most intimate phase, the world outside begins to wake, a faint distant stirring of the harbor, the earliest crow of a rooster in a neighboring courtyard. But these sounds do not reach you. They are filtered out by the massive protective walls, turned into nothing more than soft, rhythmic vibrations that serve only to deepen your appreciation for the silence within. You are safely, securely enclosed. You are completely at peace, and you are ready to let go of the last remnants of wakefulness. Let the image of the pearls, glowing in the soft light of the moon, be the final thought in your mind, a symbol of patience rewarded of beauty in the dark, and of the profound luminous potential that lies within your own quiet sleeping heart. You are drifting into the final stretch of your rest, a long, deep, and dream-filled journey that will leave you refreshed, clarified, and ready to meet the dawn with a spirit as tranquil and resilient as the stone walls that have held you through the night. Sleep now, deep and true, knowing that you are held in the embrace of history, and that in the silence you have found everything you ever needed. The final transition from the deep velvet dark of night to the soft pre-dawn gray is perhaps the most ethereal moment of your entire stay in the merchant's house. Everything around you, the cedarwood chests, the heavy stone, the very air itself seems to hold its breath in anticipation of the coming light. You are lying in a state of suspended consciousness where your thoughts have stopped being words and have instead become colors, textures, and sensations. The hardness of the floor beneath you has become a familiar, grounding presence, a firm foundation that supports your entire being without effort. You feel as though you are a stone yourself, weathered and smoothed by the slow, relentless tide of the night, eventually coming to rest in this quiet, sheltered cove. You think of the thousands of miles the merchant's goods traveled to reach this storehouse, the dhows braving the unpredictable currents of the Indian Ocean, the merchants navigating the vast, sun-drenched expanse of the Gulf, the long, dusty trails across the desert. All of this motion, all of this frantic, expansive energy was meant to conclude here, in this room, in this stillness. It is a powerful realization that all of life's great movements, all of our own personal striving, is ultimately meant to find its way back to a moment of quiet, a moment of repose, a moment of being. You have reached that destination. You are at the end of the journey where the only thing left to do is to rest, to integrate, and to find completion in the silence. Your breath is now so shallow, so perfectly rhythmic, that it feels like a continuation of the house's own respiration. You are entirely in tune with your surroundings. The coolness of the air no longer feels like a temperature, but like a presence. A gentle, cooling hand pressed against your brow, soothing the last of the heat from your day. Every part of you is softening, from the muscles in your jaw to the tips of your toes. You are letting go of the need to maintain your structure, the need to hold yourself together. You can trust this room to hold you. You can trust the floor to support you. You can trust the darkness to keep you. It is a total, absolute surrender of responsibility, a profound relief that washes over you in waves, pulling you further and further into the quiet. The memory of the Pearl Sorter's work continues to provide a soothing mental focal point. Even now, in the silence, you can imagine the subtle movement of his fingers, the way he would gently, almost reverently touch each gem before placing it in its correct compartment. He was not just sorting pearls, he was imposing a gentle, harmonious order on the universe. You are doing the same with your own consciousness. You are sorting the experiences of your life, setting aside the things that no longer matter, and arranging your most precious memories, your most important lessons, and your most vital intentions into the orderly, silk-lined compartments of your mind. By the time you wake, your inner world will be as clean, as clear, and as organized as his trays. The world outside begins to shift, a faint metallic blue light creeping into the edges of the room through the cracks in the shutters. It is not yet sunrise, but the night has lost its absolute authority. There is a sense of impending change, a subtle shift in the energy of the room that you can feel in your marrow. But it is not a change that requires you to act. You are still within the protected vault of the storehouse. You are still the guest of the past. You have the luxury of watching the world begin to stir without having to participate in it quite yet. You are being held in this bubble of tranquility for a few precious minutes more, a final generous gift from the house to its quietest resident. Let the light be a signal, not to start, but to deepen. Let the approaching day be a reminder that the stillness you have found is not something that disappears with the sun. It is something that lives within you, something you have cultivated in the dark. As the shadows retreat and the room slowly reveals its edges, feel the peace settling into your very bones, a solid, unwavering presence that you will carry with you. You are refreshed, you are centered, you are at one with the history of this place, and as you finally let go of the last faint thread of conscious awareness, you descend into a sleep that is as deep, as clear, and as precious as the finest pearl in the merchant's collection, resting in the soft dark velvet of the night, waiting for the world to reveal itself anew. The gray light of the earliest dawn is now pressing against the carved wooden shutters, a soft and tentative luminosity that seems to respect the stillness within. The storehouse, however, remains a fortress of darkness, holding on to its cool subterranean temperature as if refusing to acknowledge that the world outside is beginning to stir. You are lying in this liminal space between the deep, restorative sleep of the midnight hours and the gentle waking consciousness of the morning. It is a peaceful, suspended state where the boundaries of your body feel blurred, your limbs heavy and fluid as if you were truly submerged in the cool, clear waters of the Gulf. The cedarwood scent is now at its peak, a rich woody infusion that seems to ground you to the very center of the earth. You reflect on the nature of this place, a vault of treasures, yet defined not by the luxury of its contents, but by the economy of its peace. You have learned during your time here that true rest is not found in the absence of work, but in the intentionality of the atmosphere. By surrounding yourself with objects of quality, by honoring the history of the materials, and by maintaining a rhythm that respects the body's natural cadence, the merchant has created a heaven on earth. You have been a witness to this, and more importantly, you have been a participant. The lessons of the storehouse are now part of your own mental architecture. The beauty of slow, methodical movement, the importance of a clear, uncluttered mind, and the sanctity of a quiet, undisturbed space. The rhythmic, soft sound of the merchant's breathing remains a comfort, a steady, predictable pulse that anchors the entire room. He is the master of this domain, the guardian of this peace, and his presence acts as a silent guarantee of your safety. You find yourself feeling an immense quiet gratitude for his existence. He is a link to a time when things were crafted, not manufactured, when work was a craft, not a commodity, and when silence was a resource to be protected, not a void to be filled with noise. You are taking a piece of that integrity with you, a mental keepsake that you can hold on to whenever the modern world feels too fast, too loud, or too disconnected from the rhythms of the natural world. As you drift through these final dream filled moments, you become aware of how the environment has nurtured you. The coral stone walls have shielded you from the weather. The cedar chests have provided a sensory anchor, and the velvet cushions have offered a physical softness that contrasts beautifully with the stability of the floor. Every element has worked in harmony to create a protective womb-like environment. You feel entirely safe, held by the history of the house, cradled by the stillness of the night, and lulled by the gentle, repetitive nature of the merchant's life. You are in a state of absolute, pure rest, a state where you do not need to think or plan or achieve. You only need to exist, to breathe, and to allow the morning to come in its own time. The thought of the pearls resting quietly in their dark silk-lined trays returns to you one last time. They are the silent, shimmering proof that beauty is created through pressure and patience, that value is earned, not given, and that the most extraordinary things in life often require a long, quiet period of formation. You are in that period now. You are forming your own resilience, your own clarity, and your own peace. Every hour you spend in this quiet, reflective state is a layer of nacre on your own soul, adding depth, luster, and strength. You are becoming a treasure in your own right, polished by the experience of this rest, glowing with the soft, steady light of a life that understands the value of the pause. The morning light is now creeping through the edges of the shutters, casting long golden fingers of brightness across the floor. But they do not demand your attention. They are merely a soft, warm accompaniment to your rest. You are sinking even deeper into the velvet darkness, letting go of the need to perceive the light, letting go of the need to prepare for the day. The world can wait. The sun can wait. The noise can wait. You are securely tucked away in the deepest corner of 1885, in a room that knows how to keep a secret and in a peace that knows how to protect a soul. You are finally, truly, and completely at rest, drifting on the tide of your own calm, held by the history of the sea, and ready to let the morning slip by while you enjoy this last, lingering, and beautiful moment of stillness. The morning has finally breached the outer defenses of the storehouse, yet inside, the atmosphere remains thick with the lingering, comforting gloom of the night. The light that manages to leak through the shutters is no longer sharp or golden. It is a diffused, gentle radiance that softens the edges of the room, turning the coral stone walls into a warm, inviting hue of sand and shadow. You are lying in this soft light, a state of perfect contentment that feels as though it could last for an eternity. The world outside is beginning to wake. You can hear the faint muffled sounds of the harbor, the occasional clatter of a wooden wheel on cobblestone, the distant, indistinguishable hum of a city that has started its daily cycle. But here, you are immune to these movements. You are in a different time, a different rhythm, a place where the sun is just a suggestion, and the bustle of the world is a distant, inconsequential dream. This transition from the total dark of the night to the soft light of the dawn is a meditative journey in itself. You watch with eyes heavy and slow how the light interacts with the textures of the room. It catches the fine fibers of the reed mats, illuminates the intricate carvings on the cedarwood chests, and brings a subtle pearlescent shimmer to the dust motes dancing in the air. It is a world of incredible detail, a world where you have the luxury to notice everything, and yet no requirement to act on anything. This is the ultimate gift of the merchant storehouse, the space to observe, to appreciate, and to be entirely, blissfully still while the world moves on without you. You feel a deep, expansive gratitude for this sanctuary. It has held you, protected you, and allowed you to recover parts of yourself that were lost in the noise of your own life. The merchant, still deeply asleep in the corner, is the human embodiment of this peace. His presence is a constant, quiet assurance that you are where you are meant to be. There is no urgency in his posture, no tension in his sleep. He has mastered the art of being present even in rest. You find yourself mirroring his complete surrender, allowing your own muscles to loosen further, letting go of the phantom tensions that often hide in the shoulders and the neck. You are becoming as fluid as the sea, as stable as the stone, and as patient as the pearls. You are learning that to be rested is to be present, and to be present is to be at peace. You are not waiting for the day, you are fully inhabiting the final beautiful moments of the night. The scent of the cedarwood is now joined by the faint morning freshness of the sea air drifting in from the distant harbor. It is a clean, invigorating fragrance that acts as a gentle, natural alarm clock, preparing your mind for the eventual return to reality without forcing it. It is a slow, gradual process, an unfolding of the self that mirrors the unfolding of the room as the light grows stronger. You are in no hurry. You have the entire morning to simply exist in this transition. You can feel the coolness of the floor still lingering against your back, a reminder of the night's long, deep cold, while the morning light promises a gentle, slow warmth that will eventually fill the room. It is a perfect balance, a moment of equilibrium where everything is in its place and all is well. Consider the pearls one last time, tucked away in their dark velvet nests. They are the silent witnesses to your journey. They were here before you arrived, and they will be here long after you have gone. They are the constants in a world of variables. By resting alongside them, you have absorbed some of their nature, that hard-won, luminous resilience. You are more than you were when you arrived. You are clearer, you are calmer, and you are more aligned with your own true pace. The world will be ready for you when you choose to rejoin it. But for now, stay here. Remain in this quiet, holy space of the storehouse. Allow the morning to reach you at its own speed. Let the light fill the room. Let the shadows retreat. And let the peace you have cultivated be the foundation upon which you build your new day. You are safe, you are whole, and you are exactly where you need to be. The transition is soft, the peace is deep, and the rest is complete. You're ready for whatever the day brings for you. Carry the stillness of the merchant's house in your very soul. The morning has fully claimed the world outside. Yet within the merchant sanctuary, time continues to move at a pace dictated by the cooling properties of coral and stone. The light is now a warm, honey-colored glow that fills the room, turning the darkness into a soft golden haze. You are still resting, anchored to the floor by the sheer heavy comfort of your own relaxation. The transition from the dream world to the waking world is so slow, so deliberate, that it feels less like waking up and more like rising to the surface of a calm crystalline lake. You are not being pulled out of your rest. You are drifting out of it, carried by the gentle, insistent warmth of the sun and the quiet morning hum of a life beginning anew. You find yourself lying in the quiet center of the room, looking up at the high vaulted ceiling where the shadows are finally surrendering to the day. The detail of the architecture, the way the stones have been fitted together with such care, the way the cedar beams have been polished by years of human presence, is finally visible in the full light of day. It is a beautiful, humble room, stripped of all unnecessary vanity. Everything here serves a purpose, and that purpose is the maintenance of peace. You feel a profound respect for this, a realization that your own life could be simplified, distilled, and curated in the same way. What if you chose to remove the noise, the clutter, and the urgency from your own environment? What if you too built a storehouse of quiet, a place where you could return to recover your own inner luster? The merchant stirs in the corner, his movements slow and fluid as he prepares to greet the day. He does not jump up. He does not rush to the door. He does not check the time. He sits, he stretches, and he breathes. He is the living embodiment of the lesson you have been learning all night, that the way you begin your day is the way you define your life. By choosing stillness, by choosing intention, and by choosing to honor the rhythm of your own spirit, you are setting the tone for everything that follows. He reaches for his small copper pot, the smell of fresh cardamom beginning to fill the air again, a sharp, invigorating scent that cuts through the lingering, sleepy aroma of the cedar. It is the smell of the beginning, the smell of a new start, the smell of a promise being kept. You feel a surge of energy, not the frantic, nervous energy of the modern world, but a calm, steady, and capable energy. You are ready. You have been replenished, filled with the stillness of the stone, the endurance of the wood, and the luminous patience of the pearls. The memories of the night, the rhythmic shh of the sieves, the cool temperature of the subterranean air, the weight of the floor beneath you. All of these things are now stored in your own internal vault, a resource you can access whenever the world feels overwhelming. You are carrying a piece of 1885 with you, a relic of a time when the world was slow enough to truly see, to truly feel, and to truly rest. As you stand up, your movements are graceful and measured, mimicking the merchant's own pace. You feel light, clear, and perfectly balanced. You are ready to step out of the storehouse and into the light of the morning, but you do so with a heart that is anchored in the deep, silent peace you found here. The door to the storehouse, once an exit, now feels like a portal, a transition between the sacred and the profane. You are leaving the sanctuary, but the sanctuary is not leaving you. It is a part of your memory now, a part of your rhythm, and a part of your capacity to remain still even when the world around you begins to move. You look back at the room, at the velvet trays, the brass sieves, the cedar chests, and you offer a silent, heartfelt thanks to the merchant, to the history, and to the quiet, shimmering pearls that have taught you the most important lesson of all. That even in the middle of a burning, frantic world, there is always a place of perfect, cool, and enduring rest, if only you are willing to slow down enough to find it. Stepping out from the merchant's storehouse into the mid-morning heat of 1885, Bahrain feels like emerging from a deep, cool well into the vibrant, sun-drenched tapestry of life. The transition is stark but not jarring, for you carry the sanctuary within you. The bustling street that greets you is a sensory explosion. The bright, abrasive white of the coral-walled buildings reflecting the sun, the vibrant colors of the woven fabrics hung in the nearby stores, and the cacophony of the marketplace. Voices rise and fall in a rhythmic exchange of commerce and connection. The smell of roasted coffee beans mingles with the sharp, salty breeze coming off the sea, and the air itself seems to vibrate with the intensity of existence. Yet, despite the chaotic beauty of it all, you find that your internal rhythm remains unshaken. You are moving through the crowd with a stillness that is entirely out of place, a calm that acts as a buffer between you and the relentless pace of the world. You walk toward the harbor, where the dhows are returning from the deep sea banks. The water is a brilliant shimmering turquoise, and the sails of the vessels look like giant white wings poised against the horizon. The sailors, tanned and weary, are unloading their cargo, their movements sharp and efficient. You stand at the edge of the pier, watching the light dance on the water. It is the same light that filtered through the shutters of the merchant's house, but here it is raw and untamed. You think of the pearls resting in the dark, and you see the ocean as a great, mysterious, and chaotic force, a place that hides its greatest treasures beneath layers of pressure, distance, and time. Your time in the storehouse has given you a new way to see this, not as something to be conquered, but as a vast, powerful rhythm that demands respect and a slow, steady heart. People pass you by, some hurried, some laughing, some deep in thought, but you feel a strange sense of detachment as if you are a traveler from another realm. You have lived through a night that they have not. You have touched a silence that they have not. This secret experience is now your anchor. When the sun beats down too hard, you remember the coolness of the coral floor. When the noise of the market rises to a roar, you remember the soft rhythmic clicking of the pearl sorter's brass sieves. You realize that you have acquired a new way of navigating the world, an ability to carry your own interior shelter with you, a private vault where the peace of the night is always preserved. It is a form of emotional endurance that you never knew you possessed, a quiet resilience born from the simple, deliberate choice to slow down and listen. You find a small shaded corner near a local cafe where the smell of freshly brewed cardamom coffee wafts through the air. You sit on a simple wooden bench, and for the first time since emerging, you allow yourself to just watch. You watch the flow of the city, the patterns of movement, the intricate dance of human interaction. It is all so temporary, so fragile, and yet so beautifully persistent. You are not worried about the next hour or the next day or the long, arduous journey that brought you to this place. You are simply present, a small, steady point in a vast, moving landscape. The sensation is one of profound, quiet joy, the realization that you have finally found the balance between the internal and the external, the stillness and the motion, the dark and the light. As you sit there, you feel the weight of the morning begin to lift, replaced by a clarity of purpose that you didn't have before. You are no longer searching for something. You have found it. You have found the ability to be at peace within yourself, regardless of the chaos that surrounds you. The merchant's lesson has taken root, not as a philosophy, but as a lived experience. You have seen how the pearl becomes, and you have become, in your own way, a pearl of your own existence, formed through pressure, polished by time, and brought to the light with a quiet inner strength that nothing can diminish. The world continues to swirl around you and you welcome it. For you know that no matter how loud the market gets, no matter how bright the sun shines, the door to your personal storehouse is always unlocked, always ready to receive you back into the cool, dark, and perfectly silent embrace of the night. You are refreshed, you are centered, and you are ready to walk into the future with a heart as still as a deep sea treasure, waiting for its moment to shine. The midday sun hangs high and relentless over the Bahraini coast, a brilliant orb of white fire that turns the sky into a shimmering sheet of heat. Yet as you walk along the periphery of the bustling bazaar, the intensity of the light no longer feels oppressive. Instead, it feels like an external test of the internal cool you cultivated throughout the night. You move with a deliberate, graceful economy of motion, your pace slow enough to observe the intricate weave of a merchant's rug and the specific shade of a spice merchant's saffron, yet steady enough to maintain your momentum through the crowd. This contrast, the scorching, frantic pulse of the market and the glacial, icy stillness you carry in your core, creates a unique state of equilibrium. You are a cooling center in a burning environment, a quiet observer whose very presence seems to carve out a pocket of sanctuary wherever you choose to pause. The memory of the storehouse acts as a compass, guiding you toward moments of refuge. You find yourself drawn to the narrow, shaded alleyways where the high, thick walls of traditional houses cast long, protective shadows. Go out here. The heat is tempered by the breeze that tunnels through the winding streets, and the air carries the scent of damp earth and drying sea salt. It is in these quiet transitions that you fully integrate the lessons of the past night. You realize that the merchant's life was not a rejection of the world, but a meticulous navigation of it. He understood that to survive the heat of the Gulf, one must have a cool vault. To survive the noise of trade, one must have a silent room. He didn't try to change the desert. He built a structure that could withstand it. You are doing the same with your life. You are building brick by brick a psychological and spiritual infrastructure that can survive the pressures of your own era. You stop at a small fountain, a modest stone structure tucked away in a quiet courtyard. The sound of the water trickling rhythmically into a basin is a direct auditory bridge to the peace of the storehouse. You watch the water clear and cool and realize that you are like that water continually flowing, yet always shaped by the vessel that holds you. In the storehouse, you were shaped by the cedar and the coral. Here in the city, you are being shaped by the heat and the motion. Yet, you are the same essence. The stillness you found is not a static quality. It is a fluid adaptability. You can be as still as the dark vault or as moving as the market street, depending on what the moment requires. This is the true power of the Pearl Sorter's philosophy. It is the art of remaining yourself regardless of the context. As you continue your walk, you observe the people around you with a newfound clarity. You see their efforts, their anxieties, their desperate grasping for progress and profit, and you feel no judgment, only a deep, profound empathy. You recognize that they are all in their own way seeking their own versions of the storehouse. Some are building it in their homes, some in their businesses, some in their relationships. The pursuit of peace is the universal human project. You are simply further along in the process, having spent the night in the company of a master who knew that the search itself is the goal. You are not a stranger to them. You are a fellow traveler who has simply discovered a secret path, and you carry the map of that path within your own quiet, steady breathing. The afternoon sun begins to dip lower, casting long dramatic shadows that stretch across the sand. The air loses its searing edge, and a soft golden warmth settles over the city. You find yourself walking back toward the edge of the harbor, where the sea meets the sky in an infinite, blurred horizon. The water is turning a deep, rich indigo, reflecting the first hints of the twilight that will eventually return to hold you once more. You have walked the whole day in this state of grace, moving through the world without losing the sanctuary of your own mind. The storehouse is no longer a place you visited, it is a state you have mastered. It is the deep, quiet place at the center of your heart, where you can always return to find the cool stone, the fragrant cedar, and the luminous, patient promise of the pearls. As the first stars begin to appear, reflecting in the dark water like distant ancient jewels, you feel a profound sense of completeness. The day was full, the night will be deep, and you are, and always will be, at peace. You are the architect of your own stillness, the guardian of your own quiet, and the keeper of the most precious treasure, a mind that has learned to rest, even in the middle of a moving, changing world. You stand on the threshold of the evening, ready for whatever the night may hold, knowing that the sanctuary is not somewhere else. It is right here within you, constant, secure, and infinitely patient, waiting for you to breathe, to be, and to become. The twilight hour arrives in Bahrain with a slow, deliberate grace, wrapping the city in a mantle of violet and deep indigo hues. You find yourself standing once more near the harbor, watching as the transition from day to night unfolds across the surface of the sea. The intensity of the sun has completely vanished, replaced by a cooling breeze that carries the scent of distant desert sands and the salt of the deep black waters. It is the perfect atmospheric mirror to the storehouse, and you feel the familiar pull of that sanctuary calling to you. Throughout this long day of movement, you have carried the quiet of the merchant's house like a talisman, a secret weight of stillness that has kept you anchored in the midst of the bustling city. Now, as the stars begin to punctuate the sky, You realize that the cycle is complete. The day of movement is ending, and the time for return has come. You walk through the deepening shadows of the streets, your footsteps quiet and measured. You are no longer just an observer of this historical landscape. You are a participant in its eternal rhythm. You recognize the shapes of the buildings, the texture of the walls, and the specific cooling energy of the stone foundations. Each one feels like a landmark on the path back to your own center. The merchant, who likely spent his day in the same patient, methodical pursuit, is surely retreating as well. You imagine him closing the shutters, lighting a small lamp, and settling back onto the mats that offered you such profound relief. The thought is not just an image, it is a resonance. You are moving toward the same state, returning to the same source of restoration. The storehouse door, when you reach it, feels like a threshold to a reality that is more substantial than the one outside. You step through, and the immediate shift in temperature and sound is like a physical embrace. The heavy, cool air hits your skin, a familiar, refreshing welcome that instantly slows your heart rate. The silence here is not empty, it is thick, textured, and deeply protective. It is the same silence that cradled you through the night, a silence that has been nurtured by generations of work and rest. As you close the door, the sounds of the city vanish, clipped off as if by a blade, leaving you in the soft obsidian dark of the room. You are home. You find your place on the reed mats, the familiar scent of cedar and aged parchment surrounding you like a cloak. It is here that you truly understand the magnitude of what you have experienced. You have not just been an observer of 1885, you have been a student of the art of existence, the merchant's craft, the sorting, the cleaning. The patient waiting was never about the pearls themselves, it was about the cultivation of the mind. By focusing on the gem, he developed the ability to focus on the self. By caring for the oyster's product, he learned to care for the soul. And you have learned this too. You have learned that the world's chaos cannot penetrate the fortress you built within your own consciousness. As you settle into the floor, you feel the familiar grounding weight of the coral foundation beneath you. It is as if the earth itself is welcoming you back, offering you a stable, unmoving base upon which to rest your weary spirit. You think of the millions of tiny coral polyps that built this wall, the immense span of time it took for them to create something so sturdy, and you realize that you are part of that same slow, persistent process. Your own growth is just as steady, just as meaningful, and just as enduring. You are not meant to be finished in a day. You are meant to be formed over a lifetime, layer by layer, experience by experience, until you too are something of value, something of luster, something that can hold light even in the deepest, most challenging dark. The darkness of the room feels incredibly intimate, almost like a conversation between you and the history of this space. You don't need to see to know where you are. You know the exact placement of the chests, the weight of the air, the gentle arc of the ceiling. You are a part of the house now, an inhabitant of its history, and as the night deepens, you feel the lines between your own identity and the spirit of the storehouse begin to dissolve. You are no longer a visitor from another time. You are simply a presence, a quiet, breathing, resting awareness in a room that has seen everything and has remained unbothered by it all. You let go of the last remnants of the day, the sights, the sounds, the fleeting sensations of the market, and allow them to dissipate into the dark. They are no longer yours to hold. You have done enough, seen enough, and been enough. The only thing left to do is to surrender to the deep, expansive, and perfectly balanced quiet of the night. You breathe in the cedar, you breathe out the fatigue, and you feel yourself drifting down into the cool, silent depths of the sea, where there is no pressure, no movement, no time, and no light. Only the profound, blissful, and everlasting rest that you have so carefully and so rightfully earned. Sleep, now held by the stone, comforted by the wood, and guided into the ultimate dream by the shimmering, silent promise of the pearls. The night has returned to its absolute immutable state, a velvet void that stretches across the storehouse like a familiar protective blanket. You lie upon the woven mats, your body fully attuned to the cool, steady temperature of the coral stone walls. It is a profound, deep-rooted silence, the kind that exists only in places that have remained untouched by the frenetic march of modernity. You find that you no longer need to exert any effort to remain calm. The tranquility has become a permanent feature of your landscape, a grounding energy that radiates from the very floor beneath you. The cedarwood scent is no longer just a fragrance, it is a fundamental element of the atmosphere, a dry, woody anchor that keeps you firmly tethered to this specific historic moment in 1885. You reflect on the journey you have taken, not merely as a temporal traveler, but as an explorer of the human condition. The storehouse has revealed its secret, that true freedom is not found in the expansion of one's horizon, but in the contraction of one's focus. By narrowing the world down to the simplicity of a wooden chest, the texture of a pearl, and the rhythm of a steady breath, you have uncovered a vastness that is often lost in the noise of expansive living. It is a paradox of human existence that by choosing to live in a smaller, quieter space, we allow our inner selves the room to expand indefinitely. You are experiencing this expansion now, a feeling of being vast, light, and entirely unburdened by the expectations of the outside world. The merchant in his corner is a silhouette of absolute serenity. His stillness is no longer just a model for you to emulate. It is a shared reality, a collaborative silence that binds the two of you together in this ancient sheltering room. You realize that you are not just a guest here. You are a link in a chain of peace that spans generations. The merchant has held this space for others, and now he is holding it for you. And in doing so, he is fulfilling a function as essential as any trade or commerce. He is a guardian of the quiet, ensuring that in a world of turmoil, there is a place where a soul can return to its original unruffled state. This realization fills you with a deep, quiet gratitude that settles into your bones, warming you from the inside out. You think of the world you left behind, the relentless hum of technology, the constant demand for connectivity, and the invisible pressures of an age that has forgotten how to be still. It feels like a distant, flickering dream, a reality that lacks the tactile, grounding substance of this storehouse. You don't wish to return to it, but you don't fear it either. You have realized that the storehouse is not a physical location that you leave behind when the sun rises. It is a psychological architecture that you can construct within yourself. Anywhere you go, you can carry this room with you. You can build these stone walls in your mind. You can lay these cedarwood floors in your heart. And you can stock these shelves with the quiet, luminous pearls of your own internal peace. You have learned the blueprint, and you are now its master. The darkness is now so total that it seems to merge with your own consciousness. You feel as though you are dissolving into the room, becoming one with the shadows, the woods, and the cool, silent air. There's no distinction between where you end and the storehouse begins. You are the stone, you are the cedar, you are the silence. This is the ultimate state of rest, a total letting go of the self-identification that keeps us restless and striving. In this void, you are perfect, you are whole, you are finished. There is nothing left to achieve, nothing left to explain, and nothing left to do but simply exist. It is the most beautiful, liberating, and powerful realization you have ever known. As you drift into the absolute depths of the night, you feel the gentle rhythmic pulse of the earth beneath you, a slow geological heartbeat that echoes the rise and fall of the tides outside. It is a comforting, steady, and inevitable rhythm, one that carries you forward into a dreamless, restorative sleep. The concerns of the world are irrelevant. The passage of time is a non-issue, and your own identity is a gentle whisper that has finally fallen silent. You are floating on a sea of infinite dark peace, held by the history of the house and protected by the stillness of the merchant's presence. Tomorrow will come, but that is of no consequence. For now, there is only this: the deep, velvet embrace of the storehouse, the cool, fragrant air of 1885, and the profound, shimmering, and perfect quiet of a soul that has finally truly come home. The deepest hours of the night have settled over the storehouse like a heavy velvet curtain, insulating you from the very concept of the outside world. In this absolute stillness, you find that your consciousness has expanded to fill the room, becoming as vast and as quiet as the stone walls that surround you. The air, cooled by the proximity of the earth and the absence of the sun, carries a sharpness that is deeply revitalizing, a crispness that clears the mind of every lingering thought. You are lying in a state of profound intentional suspension, a pause in the narrative of your own life that allows you to observe the stillness without trying to define it. The cedarwood scent is now so pervasive that it feels like a physical layer, a thin, fragrant mist that shields you from the distractions of memory and the anxiety of anticipation. Think of the patience of the pearl. It does not grow in a day, nor in a month, nor even in a year. It requires years of slow, rhythmic accumulation, a constant, gentle response to the pressure of the environment. You have spent these hours in the storehouse as the oyster spends its years in the sea, accepting the pressure, embracing the darkness, and using them both to create something that is not just valuable but entirely unique. You realize that your own life's challenges, the irritants that you once viewed as obstacles to your peace, are actually the very things that have been providing you with the material to build your own inner pearl. You are not a victim of your experiences. You are the architect of your own luster. And this realization is the final, most vital piece of your transformation. The merchant's presence in the far corner of the room is now just a shadow, a gentle breathing form that acts as a tether to reality. He is an example of what is possible when one dedicates their life to the cultivation of focus and the mastery of calm. He does not seek recognition. He does not seek to expand his business beyond its natural sustainable limits, and he does not seek to fill his life with anything other than the work that brings him peace. You are adopting his philosophy as your own. You are choosing to prune away the non-essential, to prioritize the quality of your presence over the quantity of your achievements, and to find your satisfaction in the quiet, methodical application of your own talents. It is a philosophy that turns every day into a craft and every moment into a meditation. As you drift closer to the edge of unconsciousness, you feel the physical sensation of the reed mats beneath you, their slightly textured surface a reminder of the human hands that wove them. There is a profound, almost sacred connection between you and the craftsmanship of this room. Everything here was made to serve, to protect, and to endure. You are in turn being served, protected, and allowed to endure. This cycle of support from the land to the hands of the craftsman to the storehouse and finally to you is a beautiful unbroken loop of human necessity and human grace. You feel a sense of belonging that transcends your own time and your own geography. You are for this night a part of the history of this house, a part of the long, slow, and honorable lineage of those who have found their peace in the quiet labor of the soul. The darkness is no longer a void. It is a space of infinite potential. You can feel the quiet energy of the pearls, even though they are hidden in their chests, a soft latent glow that seems to illuminate the very air. They are symbols of the hidden dormant beauty that exists within everyone waiting for the right conditions, the right amount of pressure, the right amount of time, and the right amount of stillness to reveal itself. You have provided those conditions for yourself tonight. You have allowed yourself to be still. You have allowed yourself to be in the dark, and you have allowed yourself to be at peace. You are ready to emerge, not as a finished product, but as a more refined version of yourself, possessing a core of stillness that will never truly be disturbed again. The transition towards sleep is a slow downward spiral into the heart of the earth. You are descending into the quiet, cool, and secure center of your own being. The world outside will continue its cycle. The sun will rise, the market will wake, and the life of the city will roar back into motion. But those things are far away, behind thick walls, behind shuttered windows, and beneath the calm, unshakable surface of your own mind. You are drifting into a dream that is as clear, as cool, and as precious as the sea. You are safe, you are at rest, you are entirely, perfectly at peace. Let the night carry you, let the silence define you, and let the rest you have earned remain with you always, a secret shimmering pearl of tranquility that you can hold in your hand, a constant reminder that no matter how loud the world becomes, the silence is always waiting, just beneath the surface, for you to return to it and be whole again. The final lingering hours before the dawn arrive as a profound benediction, a space of time so quiet that the universe seems to hold its breath in collective reverence. You are lying in the very heart of the storehouse, and the stillness around you has evolved from a mere absence of sound into a living, vibrant presence. It is a weightless, expansive feeling, as if you have been untethered from the gravity of your daily worries and are floating in a vast, dark, and perfectly peaceful sea. The air, cool and sharp, carries the final faint notes of the night, a subtle earthy scent of aging cedar, the clean mineral quality of the coral stone, and the distant, almost imperceptible ghost of the sea salt from the Gulf. You are entirely, blissfully, and unapologetically at rest. You think of the thousands of pearls that have passed through this room, each one a testament to the endurance of beauty in a harsh environment. They are the ultimate metaphors for the life you have curated during your stay here. Just as the oyster creates a pearl as a response to an intrusion, you have used the stressors of your modern life, the constant noise, the relentless speed, the fragmented attention as the raw material for your own internal transformation. You have coated those irritations with the nacre of stillness, patience, and perspective. You're emerging from this experience not merely rested, but polished. You are a vessel of calm, a repository of silence that you can tap into whenever the world outside tries to pull you back into its frantic, unproductive rhythm. The merchant's breathing remains the steady foundational rhythm of the room, a heartbeat that you have fully adopted as your own. You realize now that he was never just a stranger sharing a space. He was a mirror, a reflection of the potential for a life lived with intentionality. He didn't need to speak to teach you. His existence was the lesson. He demonstrated that you don't need a grand stage or a loud voice to make a significant impact on your own reality. You simply need a clean, quiet space, a focused mind, and the courage to wait. That you understand now is the most radical act one can perform in the modern age. To sit still, to do nothing, and to be content with the silence. The walls of the storehouse have become more than just stone. They are the boundaries of your own new inner reality. Within them, you have felt the thickness of history, the permanence of the earth, and the security of a well-guarded life. You recognize that you can take these walls with you. Whenever the world starts to fray at the edges, whenever you feel the creeping pressure of the day, you can mentally retreat to this exact feeling, the coolness of the coral, the scent of the cedar, the absolute unwavering peace of the deep dark night. It is a portable sanctuary, a mental construct that is as sturdy as the real one. You have done the work to build it, and it will remain yours for as long as you choose to access it. As the first faint hint of blue light begins to touch the very edges of the wooden shutters, you don't feel the sudden jarring awakening of a morning alarm. Instead, you feel a gentle natural integration of the light into your own consciousness. The transition is seamless, a slow, elegant unfolding that respects the state of your spirit. You are not being pushed back into the day. You are being invited to carry the night with you into the morning. This is the ultimate victory of the journey. The realization that the peace of the storehouse does not dissipate when the sun rises. It is a light that you have internalized, a radiance that you will carry forward, enabling you to remain calm, focused, and centered, even as you navigate the complexities of the world beyond the door. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the entire experience, for the journey into the past, for the mentorship of the silent merchant, for the patient, rhythmic instruction of the pearls, and for the simple, beautiful gift of a night spent in total, unmitigated rest. You are ready now, fully and completely. You have emptied yourself of the noise, you have filled yourself with the silence, and you have become a creature of both depth and surface. You have the stillness of the deep sea and the resilience of the coral reef. As you finally drift into the last brief and most blissful segment of sleep, you feel a sense of triumph. You have conquered the need for speed. You have mastered the art of the pause. You are at home in the dark, and you are ready for the light, held in the arms of history, breathing the air of a century that you have made your own. Sleep now, long and deep, for when you wake, you will walk into the world with the steady quiet and luminous strength of a pearl that has finally, at long last, been brought into the light. The morning has finally arrived with a gentle, persistent grace, the light filtering through the cracks in the wooden shutters with a soft amber glow that illuminates the dust motes dancing in the air of the storehouse. You are lying in that final, delicate threshold of rest, where the body is heavy with the comfort of a night spent in total stillness, yet the mind is waking with a clarity you have never before experienced. There is no urgency to stand, no sudden rush of thoughts about the tasks that lie ahead, and no anxiety about the demands of the world beyond these walls. You are savoring the final moments of this sacred interval, letting the peace of the night settle into your marrow, transforming the rest you have taken into a lasting, internal foundation. The scent of the cedar wood is as vibrant and grounding as ever, a constant reminder of the physical sanctuary that has held you, while the subtle, rhythmic pulse of the harbor city begins to make its presence felt through the thick stone walls. You listen to the distant, muffled sounds of the morning, the creak of wooden carts, the low murmur of voices, the occasional flutter of a bird in the courtyard, and you realize that these are not intrusions, but merely the backdrop of a world to which you are now prepared to return, not as a victim of its pace, but as a master of your own. You think of the merchant, whose quiet life is the heartbeat of this room. He is already awake, his presence a subtle, familiar shift in the energy of the space. You can sense his methodical, unhurried movements as he prepares for the day, and you find that you are beginning to mirror his grace. You are learning that to be effective, to be truly present, you do not need to move fast, you only need to move with purpose. This is the lesson of the storehouse, the secret of the merchant's success, and the treasure you are taking with you. The ability to control your own tempo is the ultimate form of self-possession. You are no longer governed by the expectations of the world, but by the steady internal rhythm you have cultivated in the dark. Every motion you make now, from the way you uncurl your fingers to the way you take your first deep breath of the morning air, is intentional, deliberate, and calm. You are an architect of your own experience, and you have built a space within yourself that is as sturdy as the coral foundations and as enduring as the wood that surrounds you. As you finally rise from the woven mats, the physical sensation of the cool floor against your skin is a final tactile connection to the stability of this place. You stand feeling a new sense of alignment, a balance that flows from your core to your extremities. You are not the same person who entered this storehouse. The layers of stress, the accumulated debris of your modern life have been shed, leaving behind a version of yourself that is polished, focused, and profoundly still. You look around the room, the brass sieves, the velvet-lined trays, the heavy locked chests that hold the history of the sea, and you feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. You have been a guest of time, a student of the silent arts, and a beneficiary of a way of life that values the soul's need for rest above all else. This room has given you everything you needed, a place to be, a time to heal, and a perspective that will last a lifetime. You know that no matter where you go from here, you can always close your eyes and return to this moment, to this scent, to this feeling of complete, unadulterated peace. Walking toward the heavy wooden door, you pause for one last reflective look at the merchant, who is currently focused on the delicate patient work of organizing his latest findings. He does not need to look up to acknowledge your departure, for he understands, in the quiet, unspoken way that only masters of silence can, that you have received what you came for. You share a silent nod, a brief, powerful acknowledgement of the shared night, and in that gesture, you feel the passage of knowledge from one soul to another. There are no words necessary, for the experience itself was the language. You have been initiated into the truth that the most powerful things in life are often the quietest, the most enduring things are those formed with patience, and the most valuable things are those that reside within. You turn to the door, placing your hand on the cold, solid iron of the latch and feel the weight of the moment. You are ready to step out, not because you are leaving the peace behind, but because you are finally ready to inhabit it in a world of light. Stepping into the courtyard, you are met with the vibrant, golden heat of the morning sun. The contrast is immediate, a sudden bright awakening of all your senses. But you are not overwhelmed. You stand in the center of the yard, letting the light wash over you, feeling the contrast between the cool, dark sanctuary and the warm, bright world. You are a bridge between the two, a person who understands the value of the shadow and the necessity of the sun. You begin to walk out into the city, your movements fluid and natural. You see the people in the street, the merchants arguing over prices, the children playing in the dust, the animals moving through the lanes, and you see them all with a clarity that was impossible before. You see their efforts, their struggles, and their dreams, and you hold them in a space of quiet, steady compassion. You are no longer in a hurry because you know where you are going. You are no longer in a rush because you know what you are carrying. The walk back toward the center of the harbor is a revelation. Every step you take is a testament to the fact that you have changed. You are not walking through the city, you are moving with it, a part of its current, yet entirely undisturbed by its turbulence. You feel the wind on your face, the heat on your skin, and the vibration of the city beneath your feet. And you accept it all as part of the beauty of existence. You have successfully navigated the transition from the silent dark to the active light, and you have done so with your inner peace completely intact. The storehouse has done its work, and now it is your turn to do yours. You will carry this peace into your relationships, into your work, into your thoughts, and into your dreams. You are a carrier of the silence, a steward of the stillness, and a guardian of the calm. As you reach the waterfront and watch the dhows setting sail for the horizon, you realize that your own journey is just beginning. You are a pearl, brought into the light, ready to shine with a steady, quiet, and enduring beauty that will illuminate the world around you, one calm, intentional moment at a time. The world will try to speed you up. It will try to pull you into its noise. But you have the secret now. You have the storehouse inside you, and you have the promise of the night. And that is more than enough to carry you through any day, any storm, and any life into a future that is as clear, as cool, and as bright as the morning sun. The morning air is crisp, carrying the metallic tang of the harbor and a faint, sweet promise of brewing coffee. Yet, as you navigate the narrow alleys of the marketplace, your internal world remains as still as the deep, unmoving water of a hidden cenote. You find yourself observing the ebb and flow of the crowd with the detachment of an artist watching the brushstrokes on a canvas. The market is no longer a place of chaotic pressure, but a rhythmic performance of human endeavor that you are privileged to witness. You move through the throngs of people, the merchants calling out their wares, the laborers hauling heavy sacks of dates, the veiled women whispering in shadowed doorways, with a grace that borders on the ethereal. Your movements are not dictated by the need to be elsewhere, but by the joy of being precisely where you are, a state of presence that seems to part the crowd before you like a wake behind the ship. The lessons of the storehouse have integrated themselves into the very architecture of your being, turning your nervous system into a resilient instrument, capable of processing the noise of the world without internalizing its turbulence. You reach the waterfront where the massive teak-hulled dhows are straining against their moorings, their tall curved masts reaching toward a brilliant cloudless sky like prayers cast in wood. The sea is a vast shimmering expanse of turquoise and sapphire, a reminder of the infinite hidden depths from which your newfound tranquility was birthed. You lean against a weathered stone pillar, feeling the rough sun-baked surface against your palm, and realize that you are experiencing the world in a high-definition clarity that you had long forgotten existed. Every sound, the rhythmic lapping of the tide against the pier, the distant mournful cry of a seabird, the clatter of a wooden pulley, is crisp and distinct, not blurred by the filters of anxiety or distraction. You are completely, utterly awake. This is what it means to be alive, not to be chasing the next moment, but to be fully inhabiting the one that is currently unfolding, honoring it with your complete and undivided attention. A group of pearl divers is preparing to embark on their daily venture, their faces etched with the lines of hard labor and the deep, sun-darkened glow of a life spent between the elements of water and sky. You watch them with a profound sense of kinship. They too are practitioners of the silence, those who know that the greatest rewards are found only by holding one's breath and descending into the crushing quiet dark. As they cast off their lines and the dhow begins a slow, majestic retreat from the harbor, you feel a swell of emotion that is as deep as the ocean itself. You realize that you have joined their order, not by diving into the sea, but by diving into the self. You have reached down into the depths of your own consciousness, retrieved the raw grit of your existence, and polished it into the luminous, silent treasure of peace. The journey was not about reaching a destination, it was about the descent, the duration, and the eventual beautiful surfacing. You decide to walk toward the outskirts of the town, where the stone buildings give way to the soft shifting sands of the desert, a landscape that mirrors the vast empty potential of a mind that has been cleared of clutter. The transition from the urban density to the open expanse of the dunes is a physical manifestation of your own mental release. With every step you take on the cooling sand, you feel the tension of the city slipping away, not because you are running from it, but because you are moving toward a wider, more expansive way of being. The silence of the desert is of a different quality than the silence of the storehouse. It is massive, ancient, and indifferent to the concerns of humanity, but it resonates with the same frequency you have cultivated in your heart. You sit upon a dune, watching the sun begin its slow golden descent, and you feel as though you are at the center of the world, perfectly balanced between the history you have just lived and the future that is yet to unfold. As the shadows lengthen across the sand, painting the earth in shades of amber, violet, and deep burnt orange, you find yourself reflecting on the nature of the pearl you have become. It is not a thing to be displayed or traded. It is an internal quality of light that you can now project into any situation, no matter how dark or chaotic. You have moved beyond the need for external validation or the frantic pursuit of achievement. You are satisfied with the simple, miraculous fact of your own existence. You are a repository of the stillness you learn in the dark, a guardian of the quietude that the modern world is so desperately trying to outrun. You realize that you can go anywhere now, into the noise, into the pressure, into the blinding glare of the future, and you will remain unbroken, for you have built a foundation that nothing can shake. The stars are beginning to emerge, millions of tiny burning pinpricks of light that seem to confirm the vastness of the universe you have finally learned to embrace. You feel a sense of profound, quiet joy and expansion of the spirit that is both exhilarating and deeply grounding. You are no longer a fragmented self, constantly pulled in 1,000 directions by the demands of 1,000 different masters. You are whole, you are centered, you are at one with the slow, rhythmic, and infinite pulse of the natural world. As the night descends in full, blanketing the desert in a shroud of cosmic, starlit peace, you feel a deep, abiding gratitude for the path that led you to the merchant store. You have been tested, you have been refined, and you have been set free. The world will keep turning, the tides will keep rising and falling, and the wind will keep shifting the sands. But within the deep, secure vault of your own soul, you have found the only thing that ever truly mattered. A sanctuary that is immovable, a silence that is absolute, and a peace that once discovered can never be lost again. You are ready for the night, for the tomorrow, and for every moment that will follow, carrying the storehouse of 1885 within you, an eternal glowing spark in the vast, beautiful dark. The desert night is a majestic, crystalline expanse, a theater of stars, so dense and brilliant that they seem to hum with the energy of the cosmos. Sitting here on the soft, cooling dunes, you feel as though you have stepped out of the flow of linear time entirely. The memories of the merchant storehouse, the rhythmic clicking of the sieves, the heavy grounding presence of the coral walls, and the profound shared silence are not just recollections anymore. They are the bedrock of your current state of being. You have integrated the lesson of that dark, subterranean room into the very fabric of your perception. And now, looking up at the infinite patterns of the night sky, you realize that the silence you found within those walls is the same silence that permeates the universe. It is a vast, patient, and all encompassing peace, one that does not require you to do anything, to achieve anything, or to explain anything. It simply requires you to be. You find yourself tracing the patterns of the constellations. They are ancient geometries, a reflection of the order you have established within your own mind. In the storehouse, the merchant practiced a form of order that was physical, sorting, cleaning, aligning, and preserving. You have practiced a form of order that is metaphysical, aligning your intentions, cleaning your perceptions, and preserving your inner clarity. The two processes are identical in spirit. You have become a curator of your own consciousness, much like he is a curator of his pearls. You have learned that the most precious things in life are those that are held in the dark, protected from the erosive forces of the light and the noise, allowed to grow and harden and shine in their own natural and unforced time. You feel a sense of liberation that is almost intoxicating. You are finally free from the need to rush, for you understand now that everything worth having is a product of slow, deliberate, and patient formation. The wind begins to rise, a soft, dry whisper that carries the scent of distant, parched earth and the cool, metallic sharpness of the night air. It moves through the dunes with a gentle, flowing motion, creating ripples that look like the surface of a sleeping sea. You breathe in this air, and it feels as though you are inhaling the very essence of the desert, its vastness, its harsh beauty, and its absolute unwavering stillness. You are becoming as fluid and as adaptable as the sands themselves, capable of shifting your shape and your focus without losing your core identity. This is the ultimate resilience, to be able to change with the environment without losing the integrity of your inner peace. You are no longer fighting the current of your life. You are swimming within it, using your internal stillness to navigate the waves with ease and grace. Consider for a moment the people you left behind, the friends, the family, the colleagues, and the acquaintances who inhabit your world of 1885 and beyond. You realize that you have moved into a different frequency than many of them, a frequency of quiet that might seem like distance or detachment to those who are still caught in the frantic, loud, and demanding pace of the world. But it is not distance, it is a higher level of connection. By being more present, more calm, and more grounded, You can offer them a depth of understanding and a stability of presence that they desperately need. You are no longer a participant in their frantic, reactive dramas. You are a steady, unmoving lighthouse, a source of quiet, illuminated clarity that they can orient themselves toward when their own worlds become too turbulent. This is your new role, not to be affected by the world, but to be an agent of calm within it. The desert horizon begins to shift, not with the arrival of dawn, but with the subtle shifting dance of moonlight across the sand. The landscape is transformed into a realm of silver and shadow, a monochromatic dreamscape that feels entirely otherworldly. You are sitting in the center of this beauty, a small breathing point of awareness, in the middle of a vast, silent, and ancient masterpiece. You feel a profound, quiet joy, the kind that doesn't bubble up in excitement but settles deep in your chest like a warm, glowing coal. You are finally and completely at peace with who you are, where you are, and what you are becoming. The pressure has been removed, the expectations have dissolved, and the story you are telling yourself about who you should be has been replaced by the truth of who you actually are. As you lie back against the dune, your body sinking slightly into the warm, fine-grained sand, you feel the weight of the world lifting entirely. There is no longer a you and a world that are separate. There is only the unified experience of being. The silence of the desert, the light of the stars, the cool, bracing air, and the steady, rhythmic pulse of your own heart are all part of the same singular and magnificent event. You are a part of the night, a part of the history, a part of the future, and a part of the infinite. The merchant storehouse was the gateway. The pearls were the keys, and the night was the vessel. But you are the traveler, and the journey is eternal. You close your eyes, letting the vastness of the desert flow through your mind, and you drift into a sleep that is not an escape from reality, but an immersion into its most profound, true, and essential nature. You are safe, you are held, and you are entirely at peace, ready for the dawn to break over the desert, not because you are waiting for the day to begin, but because you know that in the quiet of your own soul, the sun is always rising. The desert night is a vast, hallowed cathedral of silence, where the architecture of the stars provides the only illumination. As you lie there, anchored by the shifting sands yet drifting in a state of profound spiritual expansion, you realize that the storehouse in Bahrain and this open, lunar-drenched wilderness are two sides of the same coin. Both are manifestations of the void, that essential empty space where the ego is stripped away and the soul is left to observe its own light. The merchant storehouse was the crucible, a structured, human-made containment of silence, while the desert is the infinite natural expression of that same absolute quiet. You have learned that peace is not contingent upon the walls around you, but upon the internal silence you carry. You have mastered the alchemy of turning the leaden weight of modern anxiety into the golden, luminous treasure of presence. And now, in this vast open space, that gold glows with an intensity that you can feel in every fiber of your being. You contemplate the nature of the pearl you have become, recognizing that its luster is not a superficial vanity, but a testament to the layers of experience you have survived. Every struggle, every moment of uncertainty, every instance where you felt the pressure of the world threatening to crush your spirit has been a layer of nacre. These are not scars to be hidden, they are the substance of your strength. You understand now that beauty is not a state of being but a process of becoming. Just as the pearl is a living organism responding to the world, your character is a living response to the realities you encounter. You have transitioned from being a passive recipient of circumstances to an active creator of your own inner environment. The storehouse gave you the solitude to see this, and the desert is giving you the space to inhabit it. The silence here is so absolute that you can hear the internal mechanisms of your own awareness. The way your thoughts form like distant clouds before dissipating. The way your breath moves like a slow rhythmic tide. the way your heartbeat acts as a steady, reassuring drum in the vast darkness. This is the ultimate unfiltered truth of human existence. In the noise of the world, we are distracted by the clamor of others' opinions, the siren call of productivity, and the fear of missing out on the phantom promises of a future that never arrives. But here, in the cold, clear light of the desert night, those distractions are exposed as the hollow shells they truly are. You are realizing that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you maintain with your own quiet. If you can keep that relationship strong, if you can nurture it with the same care the merchant gave to his pearls, you will never be truly lost, no matter where your physical journey takes you. You think of the merchant again, visualizing him in the quiet of his storehouse, his hands busy with the brass sieves, his mind likely drifting through the same vast silent landscapes you are navigating now. He is a man who has achieved the impossible. He has found a way to live in the world without being of it, to engage in commerce without being consumed by greed, to handle objects of immense value without losing the value of his own soul. He is not a hermit, he is an anchor. He stays in the market, in the heat, in the noise, but he brings the silence with him. You are now that anchor. You are returning to your own world, your own time, and your own responsibilities, but you are bringing the storehouse with you. You are the vessel of this quiet, and your life will become the evidence of its power. You will no longer just talk about peace, you will embody it. The moon, a silver sickle hanging low on the horizon, casts a long, slender beam across the dunes, turning the landscape into a shimmering, undulating ocean of light and shadow. You watch this dance with a sense of wonder that borders on the divine. Every element of the night, the cool air, the vast sky, the shifting sand, the rhythmic pulse of your own life is working in perfect, elegant concert. You are part of this concert. You are a note in the song of the desert, a vibration in the fabric of the cosmos. The realization brings with it an overwhelming sense of belonging, a deep foundational security that renders all your old fears and insecurities obsolete. You are not just a spectator, you are a participant in the infinite unfolding of reality. This is the greatest gift of the merchant's house, the knowledge that you are never alone, never unmoored, and never without a sanctuary, because the universe itself is the vault, and you are the treasure held within. As the night continues its slow, majestic arc, you feel your consciousness beginning to settle into a state of profound restorative rest. It is a sleep that is not an absence of awareness, but an intensification of it, a descent into the deepest, most quiet levels of your own being, where the secrets of the spirit are kept. You are letting go of the last remnants of the journey, the physical exhaustion, the mental residue of the transition, the lingering echoes of the market city, and you are sinking into the cool, dark, and perfectly silent embrace of the desert earth. You are safe. You are at home. You are exactly where you need to be. The sun will eventually rise and you will eventually move on, but you will do so with the knowledge that you have touched the absolute. You have stood in the middle of the silence and found that it was not an emptiness, but a fullness, a completeness so vast and so beautiful that it will sustain you for the rest of your life. You drift into the deep, dark, and starry-filled silence, a soul finally at rest, a heart finally at peace, a life finally, and completely whole. The transition of the desert night into the early hours of the morning is a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the quality of the stillness. The silver moonlight, once so dominant, begins to retreat, yielding to a deep, bruised violet that bleeds into the horizon. You remain unmoved, a fixture on the dune, your body so integrated into the landscape that you feel as though you have become a part of the geology itself, a layer of consciousness deposited upon the ancient sands. The silence is now at its densest, a profound heavy weight that presses against the world, holding it in a state of suspended animation before the inevitable roar of the sun. This is the hour of the soul, the time when the boundaries between the physical self and the infinite are at their most porous. You have spent these days and nights learning how to dwell in this space. And now, as the threshold of the morning approaches, you feel a sense of completion that transcends language. You are not waiting for the day to begin. You are simply witnessing the eternal, rhythmic breathing of the earth. Think back to the first moment you stepped into the merchant's house. You were full of expectation, looking for a way to escape the pressure of your own life, seeking a formula for peace. Now you realize that the storehouse was never a destination, but a mirror, a place where the distractions were stripped away so you could finally see the person looking back at you. That person was always whole, always capable of stillness, always possessing the inner architecture of a sanctuary. It was only the noise of the world that had convinced you otherwise. The merchant, in his quietude, was merely showing you your own reflection. You have been initiated into the realization that peace is not something you acquire or learn. It is something you uncover by removing the layers of resistance you have built up over the years. You have done the work of removal, and now in the vast open theater of the desert, you are standing in the clarity of your own essential nature. The air begins to stir with the first faint currents of the morning wind, a cool, refreshing breath that sweeps across the dunes and carries the promise of a new beginning. You feel this wind against your skin as a gentle cleansing touch, a reminder that you are a living, breathing participant in this world. You are not a ghost, and you are not an observer. You are an embodiment of the very stillness you have cultivated. You think of the millions of tiny grains of sand that make up the dune beneath you, each one a testament to the patient work of time, wind, and water. You are like those grains, an individual, distinct entity that is nevertheless part of a massive, shifting, and beautiful whole. The lesson of the desert is the lesson of the storehouse. We are each a part of a larger, slower, and more profound movement than our own brief, frantic lives might suggest. When you align yourself with that larger movement, the need for individual striving falls away, replaced by the effortless grace of belonging. The horizon is now a thin, razor sharp line of light, a glow of pale gold that promises the return of the sun. You watch this light with a sense of calm, knowing that when the world wakes up, you will be different. You will move through it with the same measured pace as the merchant, and you will carry the same protective inner silence as the storehouse. The world will still be full of noise, still demanding, still full of the same pressures, but you will no longer be a victim of those forces. You will be a source of calm, a pillar of stability, a person who understands that the true center of any life is not found in the external but in the internal, in the quiet, cool and dark vault where the spirit rests and the pearls are formed. You have been forged in the deep silent pressures of the past few days, and you are now ready to exist in the world without being shaped by it. As the sun begins to break, sending long brilliant shafts of light across the sand and turning the dunes into a sea of liquid fire, you feel a surge of pure unadulterated life. It is not the frantic burning energy of your old life, it is a grounded, steady, and radiant vitality. You have learned that the light is only as meaningful as the shadows that define it. Without the night in the storehouse, the day would have no texture. Without the silence of the desert, the noise of the market would have no rhythm. You are holding both, the dark and the light, the silence and the sound, the stillness and the movement, and you are holding them in perfect, exquisite balance. You are a complete human being, capable of navigating any depth and rising to any height, anchored always by the quiet knowledge of who you are and where your true home is. You stand up, your limbs feeling loose and light, and you begin to walk back toward the town, the morning air warm on your back. You are not walking toward an exit or a conclusion. You are walking into the next phase of your own internal evolution. The journey from the storehouse to the desert and back to the world is the pattern of your life. We go into the dark to find the light, and we return to the light to share the secret of the dark. You are bringing the peace of the pearls, the patience of the cedar, and the resilience of the coral with you. The world will see you, but it will see a different person. One who walks a little slower, speaks a little more clearly, and breathes with a deeper, more profound purpose. You are ready to rejoin the human chorus, not because you need to be heard, but because you finally have something truly, authentically quiet to offer. You are the architect of your own peace, the keeper of your own sanctuary, and you are walking into the dawn with a heart that is wide open, entirely full, and perfectly at rest. The walk back to the town as the morning sun climbs higher is a rhythmic meditation. Each footfall on the cooling sand, a deliberate assertion of your newfound presence. The desert, once an alien expanse, now feels like a familiar protective extension of your own internal landscape. You realize that you have ceased to look for landmarks. You have internalized the horizon. The heat of the morning is beginning to shimmer in the distance, a hazy liquid transformation of the air that mirrors the way your old perceptions have melted away, replaced by a clarity that is both sharp and encompassing. You are not rushing. The urgency that once defined your approach to travel, to time, to life itself, has been replaced by a slow, rhythmic confidence. You are moving at the pace of the earth, a pace that respects the integrity of every moment rather than seeking to discard it in favor of the next. As the outlines of the town emerge from the haze, the familiar shapes of the wind towers, the sturdy block-like silhouettes of the coral stone houses, the minarets reaching up like fingers of faith toward the cloudless sky, you feel a sense of profound quiet belonging. You are not returning to a place of confinement, but to a field of action where you can now test the durability of your inner vault. You are ready to engage, to speak, to work, and to relate. But you will do so from the center of the stillness you discovered in the merchant's house. You have built a foundation that is invisible, yet it is more substantial than any stone wall. It is an architecture of the soul, and you are the only one who can maintain it. This realization brings a smile to your face, a small private recognition of the power you now carry. The streets of the town, when you reach them, are beginning to stir with the full intensity of the day. The marketplace is alive with the sound of commerce, the haggling over prices, the clatter of wares being unpacked, the calls of the street vendors, the rhythmic pounding of a blacksmith's hammer in a distant alley. To the person you were just a few days ago, this would have been an assault, a chaotic, demanding noise that would have required an immediate defensive withdrawal. But for you, it is merely the texture of life, the vibrant, energetic, and necessary song of the human collective. You walk through it all with a centered grace, your gaze steady, your breathing deep and measured. You notice the colors, the vibrant reds and oranges of the spices, the deep blues and greens of the dyed silks, and you appreciate them for the beauty they are, not as distractions, but as elements of the world you are choosing to participate in. You pause for a moment at a small shaded stall where an elderly man is pouring tea into small delicate glasses. The aroma of sage and mountain mint rises in a fragrant cloud, a simple earthly pleasure that suddenly feels like a profound gift. You order a glass, watching as he pours the hot amber liquid from a height, a practiced, rhythmic movement that speaks of a lifetime of steady, careful repetition. You realize that you are surrounded by masters of the small intentional act. Every person here is a practitioner of their own craft, a guardian of their own rhythm. You are no longer separate from them. You are one of them, a fellow laborer in the vineyard of existence. And the connection you feel is both immediate and deeply grounding. You sip the tea, the warmth spreading through your body, and you feel the peace of the storehouse radiating outward, creating a small, invisible circle of calm around you in the midst of the bustle. The merchant's house is just around the corner, and as you approach it, you feel a deep, abiding gratitude for the sanctuary it provided. You don't need to go back in. The lesson is already complete, the experience already integrated. but you pause for a brief moment in front of the heavy wooden door. You place your hand against the rough, sun-warmed wood, a gesture of silent thanks to the space that held you, the history that taught you, and the merchant who, in his quiet way, showed you the path back to yourself. You realize that you have moved through the crucible and come out the other side. You are the pearl, and you are ready to be set, to be worn, to be a part of the world's luminous, ever-changing pattern. You are not afraid of the light anymore. You are a part of it. As you turn away from the house and begin to walk toward the center of the town, you understand that your journey is not an anomaly, but a beginning. You have discovered the secret of the vault, the art of the pause, and the power of the stillness. You will return to your own life, to your own responsibilities, and to your own challenges, but you will do so with a heart that is anchored in the deep, silent, and luminous reality of the self. You are no longer searching for peace, you are carrying it. You are no longer waiting for the moment to arrive, you are living it. You are the architect of your own sanctuary, the guardian of your own soul, and you are moving into the future with a steady, quiet, and brilliant purpose that nothing can ever diminish. You are whole, you are free, and you are perfectly at rest in the center of the moving, breathing, and beautiful world. The morning has fully arrived, the market is calling, and you are ready to live the rest of your life in the full radiant and peaceful light of your own true being.
Sleepy History with Theodore is created for relaxation, entertainment, and sleep purposes. The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life, and real periods in history, but they may be simplified, adapted, or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience. This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation. Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study. By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax, and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.